Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the show today. Very happy to have you here. Hopefully, everybody had themselves a pretty good weekend. Mine was busy as usual, but uneventful. Well, kinda. I had a little bit of computer issues, but it worked out. So that's all good because I'm here. I thought I was going to lose my computer for a week again, but I didn't, guys. I'm here. It got worked, and all I had to do was not be stupid for 5 seconds. It's a big ask.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. But thank you for not defending me. Uh, but uh, but no, I just because my brain knew, but I didn't listen to it. What the problem was, one of those things. I was almost smart for a second. But how was your weekend, Joe P?
Just the usual. Not really that much has happened, so just working. I'm probably gonna. Well, I am going to second shift, so for like 4 months.
You're a train dude,
I am.
and what do you do with the trains? Do you grease them?
No, I move freight to and from the trains, so
How do you do that?
in a hostler truck. So
What kind of
just
truck is that?
it's got a fifth wheel, like a big
Yeah.
rig does, but it's just got one seat in there. It's like a smaller version of the big rig kind of thing, and the one I drive is just meant to be driven within the yard. So
So you basically go around and pick up what? Pick up trailers, or what are you
I
picking up?
move a trailer from one spot to another, and that's essentially the job.
And then those trailers, what is done with them?
They're either put on a train or taken off a train.
Now, how do they do that, seeing as they have wheels and rig underneath them?
Well, usually you'll have a crane, and the crane goes over the train and also has a spot where you can park the box underneath it. So it can, just you pull the box on the chassis up alongside the track, and the crane comes and picks it up, puts it on the track, or you
So it
bring a
takes the
chassis down.
box off the chassis. It's
Yeah,
it's
Oh,
decoupled.
yeah.
I see. That's interesting.
Chester, I think you're getting confused since you haven't been in the United States in 30 years. They're the old style that you have a box car that has wheels on it and rolls along
Hmm.
that you put freight into. And then there's the flatbed trailers that they put shipping containers on.
Sometimes we'll
Yeah,
deal with flatbeds, but we usually don't.
yeah, I
Um,
got that.
I see flatbeds going through my town all the time.
Yeah, I
like,
understood
it's
what he meant. Yeah, I got what he
yeah,
meant.
Okay.
it's just
All
usually
right.
not the thing that
And
comes
then there's the
third car
tanks.
section.
Then there's those newer ones that carry the big old windmill blades.
Oh well, sure. I imagine they carry anything. I mean, freight is very important to the the functioning of America. I guess it's less
Yep.
so now, seeing as we don't make anything. But or maybe more so because everything's being imported, I suppose. So I suppose it's
Well,
more
coal's
significant.
still not being imported, and I see that pass through town a lot too.
Coal.
We're
Well, we
making more
we
than
can
we
produce
used to.
plenty of our own coal. We have
Yeah.
lots of it in America. But Yeah, no, the thing it's just disturbing is, every now and then one of these derailments will make the news because of, it's a really bad, but we get derailments like every week in America. It's
It
happening all
depends
the
on the
time, huh?
on the size of the derailment and what kind of derailment it is. But yeah,
It doesn't matter. There shouldn't be weekly derailments. That should not be a thing, dude.
well, in certain parts of the country they're more common because of activist activities. You
Well,
know,
then shoot them.
that's a great idea. Yeah. Usually, what we have to deal with on our end is stuff coming from LA that has been broken into,
Oh yeah, I've
and
seen
sometimes
that.
we'll have
Yeah.
whole trains where just all the stuff is open. So that's fun.
That's what insurance is for, right?
No, it's actually not. But okay. Let's see here. No, I was extremely wrong. It's nowhere near weekly. It's multiple a day. I'm sorry, I was wrong. We have on average 1,500 trail derailments per year. So that's nearing what is that, 2.6, 2.7 derailments a day. Wow. Go America.
Yeah, I would be curious to see those numbers just because I mean we've
I
had
just checked it.
derailments. Yeah, I mean I'm just kind of curious of because I mean derailment could mean a number of things. It could be a minor issue, or it could be a major derailment. It really you know
Trains
it
should not be coming off their tracks in any situation.
they shouldn't be, but I remember in the past we used to have slowdowns because if a train would derail, we would there wouldn't be the freight coming in because it'd be blocking stuff up. But we haven't really had one of those in a while. So if we are having these sort of issues and they're that extensive, then they must have found ways to get things moving much quicker if after it happens. Because I personally haven't seen too many issues with it more recently in a while. So
Well, we see them on the news constantly, dude. And if I mean, you're a train guy, so I'm assuming you understand the concept of how steel on steel locomotion works.
I
Um,
get you. Yeah.
yeah, and the sheer weight we're talking about, we really should not be having derailments like that, right?
True.
But it's just another infrastructure problem. But that's okay. $80 billion to the Ukrainians so they can have their sweater shops open. It's all good.
Now they gotta have those sweaters. It gets
Yeah,
cold, I guess.
I suppose. I love the who was it? Was the I think it was the BBC, but there's because the Americans are starting to creak under the weight, and Americans are starting to make noise, and of course, therefore, their allotted politicians are starting to make noise out of fear of losing their job. About we need to stop sending this money over, right? And Rand Paul probably is the most eloquent in illustrating why, but he's not the only one. But because the Americans, via their politicians, are starting to creak and whine about having to spend all this money, the Europeans decided that they would put out a whole bunch of hit pieces on who? The Americans. You heartless bastards. And there's a whole bunch of Deutschwelle and Al Jazeera and all the big European media sources put out specials. You got to help the poor old lady who's trying to keep her. Do you realize that some of that money is helping them keep their stores open? And never once did they ever mention any of the dead grandmas that are trying to run their damn stores from beyond the grave in the Donbass or Lungas or any of those other places. That never came up once, nor the idea of all the poor little American old ladies that want to run their own damn shops.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, but you pay
Europe
up,
needs
America.
Hey,
Europe
I
needs
hasn't been 15 minutes yet.
didn't swear.
Europe needs to start taking care of itself again.
Well,
Yeah.
there used to be a time where we used to, it hadn't been 15 minutes, so I can't say the word I want to say, but we used to tell the Europeans exactly where to go.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But
But then we wanted empire. So,
yeah, whose idea was that? Who should we blame? I know we'll never know the actual person behind it, but what president can we lay it on? Hmm.
there's
I
a
don't
number
know.
of them.
Yeah,
I mean, depending on
Eisenhower is
how far
certainly
back
part of
you
it.
want to go.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, but I
Eisenhower was
mean,
a big one.
you could predate that. I mean,
You can.
you could say Truman. You could say FDR to a lesser degree. Wilson's,
Oh well, yeah,
his sort of dealings. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, you could say Teddy Roosevelt in a
Nah,
different extent.
Teddy just wanted his own little war, and he made a little one just for himself. It didn't really count.
Well, I think it was more of the the imperial side of
Yeah, no, I know. I was being
yeah.
sarcastic. Facetious. I love how similar that word is to a certain other group's favorite word. But I couldn't believe the onslaught of news coming out of Europe this weekend, trying to shame the Americans into continually paying up. And noticeably, they're not paying anything, right? It always comes down to the Americans paying, right?
Hmm.
But
They'll
I was
talk
like,
crap all day
wow.
long, but end of the day, they'll beg us to come and help them.
Oh,
Whatever.
always. It's always this way. I mean, how many times would you guess that the world thanked America for literally rebuilding the planet after World War II?
The
None.
world as a whole, I would say none, but
Mm, none. We've rebuilt Asia. We've rebuilt Europe. We did quite a bit of things in the Middle East to stabilize and look how well they did. And then in the 70s, they decided, nah, we got to go back to the 1,000 years ago. Thanks anyway. Um, Central and South America, people complain about our imperialism, but would you like to see what Mesoamerica, particularly, would look like without American intervention? Anybody?
probably the same as Africa would look like without
Hmm.
colonial.
But people love to complain about America, and then they beg us for this, and they have all these things to say. But the simple fact of the matter is, we only have the planet we have now because of what the Americans did. Now, it wasn't all altruistic. A lot of it was actually, though. It's kind of a weird point in time. Countries tend not to be very altruistic. They'll say after the fact they were, but they tend
Mhm.
not to be, right? And I understand why. But the Americans not all of them. Clearly, it was a lot of money to be made, but there was a lot of altruism going on coming out of America at that time. It was a little bit of a golden time for us, and that it didn't last about 20 years. Not even like 15, not
Well,
even.
early nation states can have more, can be more idealistic, I think. But
Yeah, no, I think that's what it was. It was a lot of idealism and people spending money on stuff, and but from the mid 40s until the early 60s, there was a lot of good things coming out of America, and then not.
well, we were essentially the world economy at the time.
We
I
were,
mean,
yeah.
cut out the Soviets. I mean, they cut themselves out, but good riddance. Um, but yeah, like Europe was after World War II. I mean, we were pretty much the only industrial power untouched.
Yeah, no, we were. The Canadians just, basically just slide along in their syrupy way. But Yeah, no, but it's that attitude you just gave out is the reason why it allowed the communists so easy. It was so easy for them to rile up the locals, the Russians, and others against the West. Is this attitude, this negativity against the Russians for centuries, right? It's what it's the same thing with Germany. Why were they able to rile the people up against in the beginning focusing against the Jews? Well, because certain Jews, the banker ones, were shit. They were absolute dickheads taking advantage of the situation.
Up
That's
16
how
minutes.
they were able to so easily sway the people because they agreed, right? And that got out of control a little bit,
But
a little bit.
Well, if Europe doesn't have a war, it'll
Give them
it
time.
kind of gets fussy.
Do you see the go? We've seen it before, but we have another wild gangs of Africans swarming into Europe again. Do you? I mean, you see the videos? It's just
no.
thousands of the shirtless black men from Africa just swarming the streets. I'm sure nothing bad will come out of that. I'm sure.
Well, Europe's in a very self. Well, the West, I wouldn't even say just Europe. I would say the West in general is in a very self-destructive phase. You know,
It's
and eventually,
true. but with the Mexicans and Central Americans and South Americans come over the border, there's bad things in there for sure, but it's much more organized, calm, and quiet. They're not literally hooting and hollering, shirtless, packs of black men. It's not the same thing. And you could say packs of brown men. You could, but that's not how they're acting at the border. They're actually pretty
Mm-mm.
organized and
Mm-hmm.
quiet, right? It's not that vicious. Now we know there's bad things in there, but I mean, you go take a look at those videos, and we've seen this. This has happened before when Merkel and her great idea. But
Mhm.
I mean, geez, dude, that is terrifying for the people of Europe because these guys, they just want your stuff and they're going to demand it. They'll have no self awareness, they'll have no appreciation. And we know this because we've already seen waves of it and they have zero respect. It's like, gimme, I'm deserving of it for some reason. I don't know why they think that. And they'll take whatever they want when they want.
Well, I think it will. What was it? Was it Churchill who said, "America will do the right thing once every other option's exhausted"? But I think it's kind of true with the West currently. I think like when people are really truly confronted with the horrors of their horrible decision making,
Yeah.
like it can't be denied anymore, then I think at that point Europe and us here in the States will get our acts together. But
Oh,
only
maybe.
then.
Yeah,
I
once
think
everything
it's
is
that point.
burned, yeah. Well, keep in
Yeah.
mind, Churchill made that comment because at the time, America was quite pro-Germany. This thing we all forget in America, we were actually on Germany's side because we sympathized with them because of the Treaty of Versailles and the nasty things that were being done to the Germans. The Americans in general were pro-German. And it took all of the accusations about six. Keep in mind, the 6 million dead Jew thing has been flying around since the 19th century because it's part of the Zionist prophecy. You see, there were supposedly 6 million Jews dead in the Black Sea area. Then later, with the Soviets' takeover in Russia, 6 million Jews dead. Right?
I
It
just want
kept
to say we
that
are
number kept
so gonna
going.
get a strike for this stream.
But it's true though. That we I can show you the documentation. It's real, right? That number was flying around and they were trying to guilt the Americans into coming and helping. No, Germans are really bad. They're really bad. You shouldn't be working with the Germans. They're horrible. They're bad, bad, bad. Right? They kept going on and on about it. And ultimately America said, "Yeah, we don't believe you." And we never did. Eventually we got forced into it because the Americans saw the Japanese fleet coming and said, "Shh, shh, shh. Just move our carriers out and let them have Hawaii. We don't really need it after all." And that was what happened.
Well, I think FDR wanted an excuse to join the
He did.
war. I
Of
mean,
course
because
he did. Yeah.
we know he knew.
Yeah, they all
Like
knew.
that's not even a
Yeah.
question at
They
this
couldn't
point.
force the Americans into it, but that the Pearl Harbor thing forced us in against Japan. And well, shoot, we're against Japan. Might as well just kind of go over and help the Europeans too. And of course, that all escalated up until D-Day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean the reality. Anyway, I've killed time waiting for other
Yeah.
people to show up.
21.
I
No
did a
one's
good
else
Yeah.
job.
showed up.
I did a good
Yeah.
job.
Did a
Yeah,
good job.
thank
Have
you.
you heard anything from Puffin?
Nope.
I haven't heard anything from Towers, so
That's
assuming
okay.
he's probably well, we could all make wild assumptions on what Towers doing.
Oh well, I
He's
I choose not
hunting
to.
caribou.
But it doesn't
Girlfriend now,
matter.
right?
Huh?
he's got a girlfriend now, right?
That's true.
Oh well, then that's what he's doing. Well, I would be. What
um,
is he? What is he? 21?
yep.
Almost 22. It's been a year, hasn't it?
Yeah.
No.
Well, well, the thing is, though, even though I did role play, I was quite pedantic about keeping my role playing schedules, even at that age. But I don't know. He sounds like new to the dating, where I was dating from a younger age. So whatever, enjoy. And it is interesting how excited he was about getting being able to try alcohol, which I thought was funny because, I mean, shit, I drank more before I was 21 than I ever have after. I mean, every Friday night we had frickin' parties through high school, dude. I mean, you guys don't drink underage anymore?
Well, I was a weird exception where I didn't want to drink at all, and I didn't drink till I was 22. But that was only because there were boobs involved, so I couldn't
Yeah.
say no.
No, yeah,
Like,
no.
yeah,
My
That's
excuse
why.
is I got drunk when I was 5.
And then you never did it again. Okay.
Never did it again.
Uh, yeah, I
They
was
said
the
I walked
opposite.
into a wall.
No, I partied my ass off, and then when it became legal, it became uninteresting. And the thing is, I never cared for alcohol anyway. It
Same
was just
here.
social. It tastes awful. I don't care what you say. I mean, if you
yeah.
Yep.
make a proper cocktail, like maybe a Manhattan, all that, that's pretty strong. Or one of those crickets or grasshoppers, depending where you come from, those can be tasty, but they're also dangerous, right? Because you drink five, six of them, and you're not really paying attention to the fact that you're taking shots, right?
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I've never cared for alcohol. And after I was 21, I just hardly drank. Usually, if I was with a girl, champagne on New Year's. Occasionally, the girl wants to go do something. And I kind of lucked out, to be honest with you, lady, because my wife is allergic to alcohol.
Oh,
You know,
So,
it makes sense.
do
yeah,
we know what part of the alcohol she's at? Is it
nah, why
the wheat
bother?
part or
No, I
sugar
don't know.
Um,
or
Don't
what?
know.
Hmm,
Don't know.
what chemical?
I don't know what we didn't bother because she wasn't much of a drinker anyway. And because of that, and she had quite a scare because she did try to actually drink an actual entire drink once. And yeah, no, 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 no. Whatever
Never
it is,
again.
it doesn't matter because she should not drink. I don't care about it, therefore I don't drink. Like I said, occasionally on New Year's we'll have like a glass of champagne or something. But yeah, yeah, don't need it.
I'll, I'll drink like once every, honestly, like few months, just socially, but that's about it.
Hmm.
You
Well, I
know.
did have let's see, I did have like I guess 16, I suppose. I did have a couple of few years ago. I did kind of get crazy at an event, and I did have these big giant. I had like four of these giant glasses of whiskey, which is basically about 16 shots.
Oh,
Mm,
Yeah, I was I was a bit wasted. A
I can
little
just
bit.
imagine a sloshed Chester. Oh
I'm
man.
very happy. I'm a
that's good
happy
to know.
drunk.
I'm
I'm a
happy.
happy
Yeah,
drunk. Yeah.
I'm a happy drunk too.
Yeah.
It's
Um
I'm goofy,
Happy,
but
goofy, gregarious, and I was playing and singing at that
oh,
time.
nice.
Yeah, so it was all good. Everyone was having a great time, and I didn't even pay attention. They were giving it to me free, but the guy was just taking one of those big those giant thick shot glasses that they put a giant piece of ice and then the shot in it, right? Well, no ice because I didn't want ice, and the guy just filled it up.
Mm, mm, mm,
That's the thing
mm,
with me
mm.
though. Like whenever I drank, I would always like chase it with water, kind of thing. Like just to,
Yeah, no, I'm
you know,
stupid. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah,
yeah.
that would have been
I
smart.
I'm overly cautious when I'm because I know I know there's gonna be problems if I don't. So I'm like,
But
okay, I'm just
let's put it this way: the walk to the car, um, and I had my saxophone slung over my shoulder. I'm a tenor sax player, so it does have some weight to it. Normally, it's not an issue because of the size of me, right? But
Mhm.
the walk to the car was it took every ounce of my focus and concentration, but I made
You
it.
didn't you drove
No, no,
after
of
that?
course I didn't drive. My wife
Okay.
drove, obviously. Here in Japan, no, say no. Here in Japan, things like driving drunk or doing drugs of any kind I just say Asia. They don't play. You realize there are many countries here in Asia that if you get caught with drugs, they give you a week to get your affairs in order and then they execute you. That's no joke. I'm not kidding.
Well, no,
Right?
I
They are
believe
very
you.
serious. Goes
I
back
didn't
to the
think
East Indian
Japan
Group.
did that, but
No, they
yeah,
don't they don't assassinate you, no. But they'll throw your ass in jail and then they'll kick you out of the country. The Asians don't play with things like that. They do not play. And it goes back to the East Indies group, that company.
yeah.
And their buying of opioids and stuff out of China, and therefore all Asians, because of the stuff that the British did, and the Dutch, they see all drugs as being the most extreme PCP you can imagine. So marijuana is not much different than smoking a cigarette or having a shot of alcohol, really. But from their point of view, it is the most illicit, evil thing you can do.
Evil, evil. Well, let's go kick some bad guys' butts.
Fair enough.
There's
Waited
Even though
long
there's only
enough.
two of
That's
us.
okay.
Even
yeah.
though there's two of us.
I can handle that.
Are you sure?
I can. Yeah.
Okay.
So let me go over here and bring this up then. Where was I? Oh, yeah, here. All right, here we go. So let's get into it. And yeah, now, of course, you guys know we're doing Omni Fit. Just to reiterate, I had a little bit of a backstory, but the backstory is, there was some doctors messing around with some stuff that was picked up during World War II. Of course, those German scientists were experimenting on some demon DNA they had come across. And this guys ended up putting into it literal dietary supplement called Omni Fit.
Mhm.
And this led to many ladies who later got pregnant from becoming fit and sexy, which I don't really think matters, but it's a psychological thing, and therefore birthing a entire generation of heroes, and thus it has continued from the 60s until now. So these guys are playing variations on this, and it's kind of interesting that no one really chose to play an Omni, though, which I thought was super weird. Because GOP, what are you playing?
I'm pretty sure I'm an Omni.
The
So
Almighty Cloaca. You are an
yeah,
Omni. I'm
I
sorry.
am.
But the other ones didn't. Lady is playing some magical fairy thing.
Terry, scimitar, or
What?
chimerian, whatever you called it.
Huh?
Origins,
Chimera?
chimera, yeah.
Well, no, you're not a chimera. You're just an elf.
Well, that was the title overall,
Oh
other
well,
than not human.
it was the mechanics I was using. That's right. But
Yeah.
yeah, you're not a thing created from magic though. But you're just fall under the magic headline because you're extra dimensional. Let's say that. So
Okay.
she's playing that. Tower was playing. What is he playing? Is he playing an Omni? No, he's playing a
Uh,
tech guy,
well,
right?
he's playing tech. Yeah, he
Yeah,
is
so you got a
tech.
tech. And Puffin was playing
An alien.
an
So
alien. Yeah, so it is interesting, but it's four colors, so people can do as they like. But the conceit is with the Omnis. Of course, here is the actual Paw Patrol for Pawtucket, Rhode Island. The PCOI Sentinels, of course. But these guys have been around for a while. They've gained all the fame and popularity. The people in Rhode Island adore them, and they are all moving up and on to greater things. Therefore, replacements are necessary, and the replacements come in the form of cloacas. So it's all good. But of course, we have some other things. But nevertheless, our team is set up in Pawtucket downtown, of course, at the Pawtucket chapter of Omnicore. The chief is a Yo-Yo Mama, and she's a taskmaster, that's for sure. And of course, we also have Randy. Let's not forget Randy. He's actually quite helpful if you're nice to him, Yo Yo. And of course, we have Kitty, who's an actual myth or a half myth. She's the myths are another thing that came in just as a kind of refresher. The myths were actually the first ones to show up because one of the things that this did was this dietary supplement. It caused a lot of the children to be born with anthropomorphic features, right? And it wasn't until puberty hit that they saw the extent of how many children had actually been affected. But Kitty is a half myth. They don't see myths very often because the myths were long ago moved to these kind of reservations called mythals. Simply to protect them because there was so many groups trying to murder anyone they could find in the beginning because when the revelation came out that this is coming literally out of demon DNA, that caused a lot of ruckus and it led to wars, and one big one that just only ended you know 20 some years ago. The 90s was bad. Late 80s and 90s were really, really bad. So most of the myths just stay out of human involvement and just live in their little mythals. But Kitty here is clearly an example of a human and a myth coming together. Oh, you don't really know. Maybe her mother or father that looked human was an Omni. Who knew? Who knows? We also have Danny. Not really sure what Danny's for yet, but Danny is here. Okay. And we shan't forget Mandy. She's very important. And of course, we're in Pawtucket. Now, Pawtucket is one of the cesspools in America. I know you guys don't hear about or know about it, but it is. When you hear about the horrible things that happen in Detroit and Chicago and Baltimore and LA and all that kind of the nasty stuff in between, Pawtucket's part of that. And it always has been. I don't know why. Providence has its crime too, but Pawtucket's just a mess.
Chester.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say I like how we've decided that this is officially the map we're keeping. It's not like a throwaway gag.
No,
It's like
no, I'm keeping it.
All right, you continue. Continue.
Yeah,
I'll shut up.
it's perfect. I'm a Rhode Islander. I have a right. Mhm. But it is shocking because you don't hear being an American, you don't hear much about New England, do you?
Nope.
No, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. You just don't hear much about it, right? And occasionally, if you do, it's Boston. And fair enough, Boston is one of the biggest college towns on earth, for sure. But beyond Boston, you just don't hear much. And you don't realize that New England and the reason why they tend to vote blue in your elections is not necessarily that they're all crazy liberals, like say in New York or Los Angeles or something like that. But it's because it's a union. These are all union states, right? And
Yeah.
unions are despicable, evil things that should have been knocked out decades ago. But they're union states, and that's why they always vote Democrat, even though the people in them are far more conservative than you would imagine, seeing as how what comes out of them. But nevertheless, there are also quite a few cesspools in there. See, this is what happens when you have this forced integration, and I don't mean one particular racial group or ethnic group in particular, any kind of forced integration. That when the government doesn't care whether you all get along or not, but saying that we're going to enforce against the local more than we are the integrated, which of course you might think is a new thing, seeing in the news and what's going on. It's like what? No, it's not. I grew up with it. Yeah, yeah. But anyway, Pawtucket's awful. But that's where you guys are now. When we last saw them, of course, a couple weeks ago, we did do the indie developer Mystic Days last week, and that was fun. For sure. We love promoting that kind of stuff. But when I last saw these guys, they went on a little bit rogue, a little bit, and they were able to defeat a member. Well, they didn't really defeat, but they got involved with a member of the Bundy family, seemingly some kind of Polish crime family in Pawtucket, Darlington to be specific. And do you guys remember what happened last time? How did it end when you were fighting the big dude?
Well, we were gonna take him down, but that would have taken 3 hours with the way our stuff is set up. So we decided, well, Lady decided to call in for backup.
Right.
So
And because of Lady's choice, the Paw Patrol did come in and they were able to deal with it quite easily. But they are more powerful and organized than you guys are. Of course, you're trainees basically. But
mhm.
because of that, already by this morning, of course, the police are not your friends, and leaks happen. Of course,
Not from us.
it's not from you, but it's all over the news of how the new supposed replacement for the Paw Patrol failed miserably. Your pop score drops by 10.
Okay.
Let me bring up my character sheet.
Now, in the morning briefing, um, you kind of imagine Yo-Yo Mama would be furious with you because, well, no, well, I'm not sure. She did say, "Don't you stay away from them Bundys," she said, but she also said in a way that seemed to be like ambiguous. So but you figure you're going to get a tongue lashing in this morning, but you don't. Yo-Yo Mama explains and puts on the big screen the morning news report of the news calling for, "Is the replacement of the Paw Patrol worthy of us here in Pawtucket?" And then some lady going on about, "Please, Paw Patrol, please stay. We need Paw Patrol. We don't need these new idiots." And of course, then another one comes on, and she just kind of letting you watch these, talking to the virtues of Flair, Zephyr, Karzoff, and the amazing. Oh, he's so sexy, Saber. So you get an entire morning show dedicated to your failure, or more importantly, to how much they love the current Paw Patrol. To be fair, they don't mention you much at all. When they do, it's like, do we really need these unworthies? Who even are they? Anyway, it's not good. It's scathing and it's rough. However, she said, she says to you, well, of course, the mayor's office and well, sorry, Yo-Yo Mama. Well, of course, the mayor's office and all the police are calling for you to be removed from your authority and sent back to whatever academy you came from. But of course, in our situation, this actually works in our favor because seeing as the Paw Patrol had to come in and help you, and unfortunately, this is a dent to your egos, I am sure, as well as your reputations. But them coming in, we can put it on their action. Now, of course, the mayor's office and the various police groups are not pleased, but they also can't do anything about it. So it actually worked out in the best for you because I did tell you to stay away from them Bundys. Hmm.
Well, to be fair, the airfield wasn't owned by the Bundys.
No, it wasn't. That's true. That you know of.
Well, true, but I mean, as far as we know, as far as anyone else knows, we weren't even at
No,
the
that's
pawn
true.
shop.
Well, you were, but
Well, we
you're
weren't,
right. No, you're right.
but
You're
they,
right. You're
yeah.
right. You're right. But nevertheless, she's nowhere near as furious as you would imagine. There are a few cutting words in there. But in general, she thinks it works out for the best. And she says, "You guys are new, of course, and but keep working at it because you're going to have to learn how to live with this city." And with that, she walks out. Now, she never goes to Mandy's mornings, of course. Yo-Yo Mama doesn't need it. She's a perfect specimen of human perfection.
Uh huh.
Yeah. But you guys are sitting in your morning session with Mandy, and Mandy is as peppy and effervescent as ever. She does always make your mornings feel better. It's almost like having a cup of Joe. Mhm.
Very nice. I'm
Ran-
fully in my jazzercise mode. So
yeah, of course
I
you
got
are.
the full
Well,
outfit,
so is
man.
Randy. Randy is full Roxy gear today. Um,
Nice.
Did he get in trouble? Because he was there. Him and Kitty were both there.
Well, nobody knows about that. Well,
Nobody
I mean,
knows
they.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shh. They whisper. Shh.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Kitty always just wears what Kid. But then again, you can tell that Kitty doesn't need any of this training at all. She is the
No.
most limber person in the room, actually, because this is all about stretching out your joints and getting your blood flowing. I mean, yoga is actually very useful. It really, in reality, but Kitty doesn't need any of it. Randy's got his Roxy yoga pants on. That's an image.
Mm-hmm.
Stick with that for a minute.
No, 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 no.
He has his Padres shirt, t-shirt over the top because Padres. Got to stick with them. For some reason, I don't know why. It's a California team, isn't it? I think it is.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm
I
pretty
have no
sure it's
idea.
San Diego. I
Sports,
think.
sports is not my forte, but I'll
No, I
take it.
wouldn't. Shocking.
Right?
Yeah, shocking. Nerds in there, and their anathema to sports. But I'm a weirdo, right? Because I was a sports kid and a nerd kid. How did that happen?
I yeah. Well,
Paul.
Yeah.
my dad used to take me to Bears games and Bulls and all that stuff back in the day. So, but I just I don't know. Never really took to it that well.
I wasn't particularly good at any of them. I mean, I guess I was just kind of middle of the road. Some things are a little bit better than others, but I wasn't much of a sportsman, to be honest with you, dude. I just
You were
did
a
a lot of
lineman.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, football was one of my better ones. I was a good linebacker in the run. When it was a rushing down, I actually did a pretty good job, right? But still, even then, I'm not much of a sportsman at all. I was very mediocre. The only sport I was ever good at was fencing, and I don't know why, just was. But nevertheless, I did do a lot of sports, even though I am ultra nerd, dude. I'm doing a role playing game. I've been told it is the absolute bottom of the barrel.
Well, don't let Thundaro get you down.
I wouldn't.
What? What? Fondero says Marvel is the bottom of the barrel?
No, well, no,
Role-playing
not
games.
Marvel
Yeah.
role playing.
Well, Fondero can take it and shove it up. Beep,
Ooh,
beep, 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 beep.
you take that, Thundero.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying
Yeah.
to be D&D with Thundero.
No,
Just-
he does. That's his belief. But he's not alone though. We tabletop gamers, we have always been considered the nerdiest of nerds. Yeah, especially these days where video games have become so mainstream, right?
Mhm.
I remember when I was a kid and playing, Moonlander and all those kind of little games we had back in the 70s and 80s, and you were the just most ridiculous nerd. Just go back watching any 80s movie, and the guy who's on the computer, look at him,
Mhm.
right? Super
Now
nerd.
look at everybody around the world. They're on computers. Hello,
they had-
nerds.
Well, look at
They
the
had
movies,
magic
right? Today
computers.
they're always the slick, cool one, right? It
Yeah.
changed. Yeah.
Huh.
It changed, but not for us tabletop guys. We're still the
No.
nerds. We're the ultra nerds. So, you know,
Okay. So we're doing our exercises.
you are.
I tell my coworker, don't fart when you bend over, okay?
Yeah, well, that's yoga. Get used to it. And honestly, I just
It
do
just
this
comes
because
out.
I want to look at Mandy's picture. I
Oh.
tell you, that AI stuff's getting good, GOP.
Oh, Dolly 3 just released.
Oh, did it? Oh, goodness.
What?
Lightning speed, man. Lightning speed.
What's Dolly 3?
It's an AI art production program.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. Sorry.
There are many of them now. There's so many of them. But they're evolving at ridiculous rates, dude. I mean, honestly, you miss a day not paying attention, and you miss an entire generation of upgrades. It's really really moving, but anyway, we're not getting that conversation. Anyway,
All right.
after your morning calisthenics basically is finished, you guys are filling out the paperwork that's required, of course, for last night's fiasco. Of course, when you get all the information, I don't know if I had said his name or not. And if I did, well, it's going to be a new name, I'd imagine. But the big guy, did I give him a name?
I don't
The
think
one
you
that
did.
was
I'd have
doing
to double
all
check.
the hitting?
Yeah, the big guy. I don't think I did. But of course,
No.
now that he's in custody, they've been able to get all the information on him. His name is Butch Bundy.
Of course. Of course.
Okay,
But hey, you know what? We've caught the Bundys, or at least one of the Bundys, in criminal activity.
you did.
Hey, yeah.
Now,
What about the guy that was being tortured?
well, we're going to get to him in a second.
Okay.
Then you have the twins, and they are, well, you only have one, but you guys, your eyewitness accounts is that they were absolutely twins. They were identical, right? You
Mm.
only caught one, but he is in custody, of course, and they don't have much information on them. They call themselves the Shadow Razors, of course. But there's not much known on them, so you'll have to be patient on that information. But Omnicore International's got pretty good resources, so more than likely they'll figure it out. But there's still a mystery. The guy who was being tortured and beaten when they interceded to save his life, which is very heroic, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you.
They're
Um,
not going to put that in the news.
what do you say?
I said, but they're not going to put that in the news.
No, of
Of course
course
not.
not. Of course not. Um, his name is Caleb Whitehouse. Caleb, it's still early, right? Because this happened late last night, and we're sitting here. What is this? 9 a.m. in the morning, right? 9:30,
Mhm.
something like that. And actually, it's probably more like 10:30, wouldn't it be? Because you guys probably start at 9. Uh, but
Yeah.
um, anyway, Caleb. The only information you have is Caleb is from Pawtucket. He is from the Slater Park area, which is, the southern part of Darlington, basically. And that he runs, he's a manager of, not an owner. He's a manager of a bakery in South Darlington. Beyond this, he is a married man of 12 years, and he has two children, a boy and a girl. And that's the only information you got so far. You don't understand the connection. Of course, he's comatose, so there's nothing coming out of him. You have no information from Butch yet, although you know he's in interrogation. Although this is way beyond your ability to interact with, and that's the only information you have. And honestly, you can tell unless you get it from Randy or Kitty, uh, you're not going to be kept in the loop anyway. So
Good point.
yeah, because they the basically best to stay away from this situation overall, not only for Omnicore, but maybe for you as well. But it's up to you guys what you do. But you finish your morning calisthenics. Randy immediately is on the jelly donuts and is offering one to you. Um, Kitty is miffed both in her hair and in her attitude, with the fact that she herself has been locked out of information, and as far as she
That's a
knows,
bad
well, hold on a
thing.
second.
Yeah.
As far as she knows, no one knew she was involved. But she is your handler. Is the only thing she can think of it. So she's a bit miffed. She doesn't like it. Not only is she female, but she's also a cat.
Mhm.
Pissed off cat.
Well, curious. You know how you ladies are. You can't stand not to know something or be left out of something. This is why men are not allowed to have their own things.
So says your wife, right?
Right. Sure. Every woman on the planet. But nevertheless, as I piss off every female listening, so Randy and his jelly donuts, and of course Kitty is a bit miffed, and you guys are sitting here. It is, I'd say, a good 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, let's say, and you have no assignments. The only thing you do know is stay away from the Bundys. What do you want to do?
We
Well,
just gotta wait for a call to come in then.
I think it'd be wise for us to do our normal patrol right now until we at least get more information. Hopefully they'll let us back in the loop with it.
Now, of course,
But
you
we,
can do that, yeah, of course, but
mm,
do keep in mind that there are other things that you've been given. All right, there are some things that you were involved with. There's a situation in Central Falls, of course, with the asesino de la muerta, of course. Um,
Why do I not remember that?
no,
I don't know.
that was the death dealer guy. He was the guy who teleported away with what's his name? I'm trying to
Pac
remember the guy's name.
Paco
Paco and the other dude,
Martinez.
Martinez.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Of course, another Centrofoil thing was with Asgard, although that's not necessarily anything to bite on, right? But
Yeah.
there's also the threat reports. You were given threat reports. I am sharing, by the way, aren't I?
I'm seeing
I
it.
see it.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, at least on Discord.
Have we heard anything else from Paco or anything else
No,
from?
no, but then again, he and Martinez, they seem to be part of De La Muertos, and they at least have some kind of association where they come save their ass, right? And
True.
they tend to be up in Central Falls, which is one of the problems they've had trouble catching Paco and Dante, is because they tend to operate out of Central Falls, and technically it's not in Pawtucket's jurisdiction. It falls under Providence's jurisdiction. Keep in mind, Rhode Island is covered by Providence. So there is a super team there. I haven't put them together, but let's assume they're awesome. They cover the entire state. But Pawtucket is such a hellhole unto itself that there was a separate team established a couple decades ago, like 2007 or something like that.
Yeah, Ethereal's over there. He's seeing you.
Yeah. So that's why Pawtucket has its own, right? Because it's such a
Mhm.
bad thing. But Central Falls technically falls under the Providence group. And keep in mind, what you've kind of gotten out of the Providence one is they seem to kind of get along with the government, which you take that as you like. But anyway, it's not your jurisdiction, and that's why these guys are kind of outstanding. Of course, we also have Matilda, which you don't know much about. You haven't done any research into her. You have the Dark Frank.
We don't mess with the Dark Frank,
Yeah, we
especially
don't
when
mess
We're
with
it's
the dark.
not
only
to.
We were told not to. Yeah.
two of us.
Yes.
Yep.
And of course, there's two organizations operating in Pawtucket as well. You have the New Dawn, led by Adeline Potter, and of course, she has her Valkyrie that go about and doing her will. But this organization, it's one of those things where there's no actual information of illegality, but clearly something is going on, right? And then of course you have Dr. Zim, and he is a small-time European troublemaker. But here in Pawtucket, he is big time. He's quite powerful, and he has his own. He makes his own minions. Creates homunculi, but he also has his sidekick, Andrea, who is his agent, and she's a brutally vicious thing. She's quite murderous. So that's another organization working. And of course, last you have Ranger Dick.
Well, you know what? We should go. We should go find Ranger Dick.
You
'Cause
should.
But
it would
he's a
be
police
perfect.
officer. right?
No. What do you mean he's a police officer?
Okay, I was thinking someone else then.
No, this guy is just a
Ranger
dick.
Dick. I think this is a good day for Ranger Dick.
It
Now,
is. I mean,
I
it
think so.
probably, yeah, might be something that the two of us could handle by
Maybe.
ourselves
I think
without
so. Yeah.
our
Yeah.
tank
Yeah. No, definitely. This guy is more
telekinetic.
handleable. But anyway, this guy here. Now, the information you have on Ranger Dick. He's a human. He's not a myth, although he clearly wants to be. You can tell very clearly that this is a costume, right? He's got a raccoon head and a raccoon tail. Obviously, he's playing off of Ranger Rick in the past, and there's not that much known about him. He shows up. He's a vigilante. Let's put it this way. But he's the kind of vigilante that you really want to remove, because some vigilantes are helpful to the police, and you guys are effectively a type of police, right? And therefore, police don't work so hard to find them, right? Even though it's technically illegal because they're actually helping out. Ranger Dick here, he's not that. He comes into situations thinking he knows what's going on, and he's often wrong, and he brutalizes people, and he tends to break bones. And he's not murderous, but he is quite brutal in the way he interacts with people. He's a wrestler, and he's just caused a lot of havoc, and I'm sure he's probably caused trouble for the wrong people, and why he's on the list. Because even though he's on the list, there's so little information about him. It kind of means that the people around here don't care. You get what I mean? He's
Yeah,
Hmm.
he's a nuisance, but it's like, oh, whatever, right? It's that type of situation.
So it's gonna matter if we bring him in or not then.
we got way
No,
bigger
it will
problems.
matter. It will matter. You get popped for it, of course,
Okay.
and experience. Absolutely. I'm just saying that there's just the file on him is very thin. And you would imagine that, this guy doesn't seem that smart just looking at, because look at me example. He went into a seedy little strip club downtown, and he initially was just a patron in full costume, of course, right?
Mhm.
And But he saw a drunk guy that was getting up, and he was joking with the girl, and he slapped her ass, right? Now, what Dick, which we can only assume his name is Richard, whatever.
Excuse me.
Only
But
is
what he did is he flew across the bar, meaning ran across the bar, tackled the guy, beat him bloody, and walked out with his chest out as if he just did a good thing. What he didn't understand was that man was actually a part of the court system, one of those dudes that, what do they call them, stenograph guys? Is that what they
Oh
call them?
yeah, those are golden to judges. Yeah,
Well, but they're also, it's a pretty good paying job. But anyway, but the,
yeah.
the the stripper whose ass he was slapping was his wife.
oh
Yeah, so
Interesting.
they were just playing around. Well,
Oh,
it's a big difference between being a stripper and a prostitute. Marrying a prostitute, marrying a stripper is harsh too, but they're not technically sleeping with anyone, right?
right.
But So you'll see strippers with boyfriends a lot more than you'll see prostitutes with it, right?
Yeah.
But nevertheless, completely misunderstood the situation, overreacted, as Ranger Dick does. Like I said, he thinks he's a hero. He is quite capable at wrestling, as you can see. He's also quite fast for a big man. But
Where? Never mind. Never mind.
Well, most of his
Sorry.
interaction is in downtown area, Woodlawn, and there are some reports of him operating in Central Falls as well. But mainly he's in the strip. The crime strip is where he is seen. And that's about all you got. You can assume his name is Richard something. I guess his name is Ranger Dick. He must have found it was funny that his name Dick is so similar to Rick.
somebody clearly found it funny.
Somebody did. Somebody.
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 Oh,
All
if he likes a drink, let's look at all the bars along the strip, crime strip.
Sure. All you can do is go out and just
Well, we can go in disguise too, can't we?
I
you
think it's
could, but
necessary.
why? You're
Yeah.
trying to build rapport in the area. You're
hmm
trying to become the new
Fine.
Well, that's what you're trying to do, though, lady. You
We
know,
don't need to hide who we are in this
no,
particular instance.
no.
Like it
Fine.
makes sense at times, but not right now.
I mean, there are
Uh,
times you might want to disguise yourself, but in this situation, it's much better to go full uniform, badge out.
oh,
All
also,
right.
quick question: does the S on his uniform stand for hope?
It does.
Okay.
Do you know how hard it is to use those stupid AIs with the word superhero and not get something Superman? It's hard. You have to really wrap your mind around different ways of typing to get rid of that S, dude.
Well, that's another cool thing about Dolly 3. They're much better with like text and images and actually following prompts much
Yeah.
closer.
Oh, and it's going to get awesome. I can tell already. Give it a year. This thing's going to be badass. But nevertheless, you head out into the world to see if we cannot find the dick. Now, looking at our map, like I said, most of his activity is in Woodlawn downtown, this strip here. Now, keep in mind that this strip here, Woodlawn to downtown, is the most intense level of criminality in the city. There are it's all over the place, but Woodlawn and downtown are bad, and of course it goes up into the southern part of Central Falls, just north, and that's really bad. But then Central Falls actually gets a little bit better later, to the point that Pawtucket is worse than Central Falls, even though it's hard to believe. Nevertheless, where you want to start?
Um, we'll go. We know he's had issues with strip clubs in the past.
Hmm.
Uh, so strip clubs and bars, seedier places. I mean, we are in the seedier part of town, so
You are,
we'll
yeah.
go patrolling around and kind of searching places. And I mean, he's a pretty easy character to spot. So if anyone saw
He
him,
seems to walk around in costume, yeah.
yeah,
So you guys might as well start in Woodlawn because the vast majority of his sightings are in Woodlawn.
okay.
You go down to Woodlawn, and this picture I've already explained before, but this is a perfect example of what Woodlawn is. It all looks like this, all of it. These duplexes.
Is there any designation on each building?
Of course, there would
Like,
be, and they'll
okay.
have now. This is a peek at a place in Central Falls, but it all looks like this. Providence, Pawtucket, Rhode Island, it all looks like this. My whole even down where I come from in Narragansett, it looks kind of like this. It's a little more spaced out, more trees, less seedy. But then again, I live in a place that's got a lot of millionaires, so it's a little bit better kept. But nevertheless, it all kind of looks like this, you know, little rundown shops and, you know, bail bondsmen's on every corner and liquor shops and check cashing places and little pharmacies and delicatessens and pizza, of course. You know, Rhode Island's pizza is quite good. Um, yeah. So you're in Woodlawn, and there is a street that looks very similar to this in Woodlawn. A couple of them, but there's one main one, and there's a lot of drinking establishments, strip clubs. I mean, you know, it's super seedy. So
Okay.
what you want now? It is. We'll say that you guys had lunch with Randy. Randy knows where to find the best heroes in the city. By the way, we call them grinders, just so you know. In Rhode Island. We don't call them Subway sandwiches or heroes, but
Well,
he does know where to find the best grinders.
it would be kind of confusing to call them heroes in this setting.
It would be, but we call them grinders.
Yeah.
And you know the funny thing about Rhode Island is, you know, Rhode Island is where coffee ice cream was created. It is where New England chowder comes from, right? I mean, there are some things that, you know, and they make amazing sausages and of course wieners and stuff like that. But you know, so there are a couple of things that Rhode Island's famous for, I suppose. But really, the day-to-day food is pizza and grinders. And I've had pizza in New York that was technically better, but Rhode Island pizza is pretty good. I've never had a grinder quite at the awesomeness level of Rhode Island for some reason. So grinder shops are quite common. Nevertheless, we got to start with bars, or we got to start with strip clubs because it's after lunch and they're open.
Fair enough. Uh, yeah, let's start with the strip clubs.
All right.
Why not?
This one's Central Falls. Well, this picture is perfect, perfectly equal for Woodlawn, so I'll leave this one up. And you're kind of go to the first one, and we'll call this one it's Auntie Aggie's. It's called. And you go inside. Of course, they're just open. They just opened up after lunch. Therefore there's a regular in here maybe, but otherwise it's pretty quiet. The girls are probably still trailing in, and it's their
Mhm.
early part of the day.
Yeah, we're not
Um,
here for the show anyway, so
well,
okay.
I'm just kind of giving you the setting. There is a rather large Dominican man who is sitting just inside the door at a little kind of booth on the side where you would pay your money. Now, of course, I don't know how things are now. You correct me if I'm wrong. But when I was young, working in strip clubs as a bouncer, there were two types. There were types you just walk in and have a seat and you buy your drinks and you pay your money. And there's another type where you had to have a membership. This is one of those. The membership is $20, and once you pay it, you can come in and out, go in and out as you like for a year. I don't know if, well, you guys wouldn't know much about it anyway. Nevertheless, he sees who you are, and he says he identifies himself because, well, anyway, you see this big Dominican guy sitting in the pay booth. What do you want to do?
So we're basically we're gonna be stopping at a bunch of different places unless we can find this dude and earlier. But essentially, I'm just gonna ask him like has he seen this guy, kind of thing. Like, is he frequent this place? Do you have any information? Maybe like the guy is a nuisance and he's already
Are you showing
caused
him an
issues.
actual photo, a an
Uh,
iPhone, or a
I'll show him a
tablet?
photo. I'll show him well, not an actual photo because I probably wouldn't have that. I'll show him an image on, say, an image on a phone. Why not? Doesn't matter.
Well, I'm curious. So what does the cloaca carry? So you show him the image, and the guy is like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I've seen him around. Uh, I don't think he ever came in here, but I've seen him walking down the street."
Well, okay. So he doesn't really have the information. Well, like, because I don't know if these guys would like protect this guy considering his reputation. But
Well, he very quickly said, "Oh yeah, I recognize him. He hasn't come in here, but I've seen him walking down the street."
yeah. So we'll just keep looking around. I mean, I'll keep an ear out. If anyone is like potentially suspicious and acts like maybe they know something. If you want to have me do a roll or something, that's fine. But
Nope.
okay, then I guess we'll keep
Um,
looking.
will you allow me to go question the girls in the back? See if they might have seen him on the streets or something?
Well, you could do as you want, he says.
Thank you. Get the picture, go back there where the girls are at.
Well, I'm assuming you already have one on your phone. But because you were given one as part as being an Omnicore. The girls are back there, and they're in various levels of dress and getting ready, doing makeup and stuff. They're just kind of chit chatting because their day really doesn't kick off probably until around 3, right?
Yeah.
Or so when people start, and then of course nighttime. But they're just chit chatting and doing as strippers do. They're quite noisy. So go ahead.
Knock knock, ladies. May I come in?
They look up, and a couple of them kind of scowl at your presence. A couple others smile. And the one little peppy girl, she looks to be, maybe Puerto Rican, and She says, "Oh, I've never seen an elf in the flesh before."
We're trying to get this guy off the streets. He's been causing a lot of problems. Show him the picture. Have any of y'all seen him?
Several of
Know
them
which church?
chuckle and they say, "Oh, big dick."
Yeah, is that how it is, huh?
No, big dick,
I
as
get
in
it. I
Fat
get it.
Richard. Yeah,
Right.
get your mind out of the gutter, lady.
We're in a strip club, okay? We're higher class around here.
That's right.
You mean to tell me there's no elven strippers?
Elves are
Not
probably
here.
pretty
Yeah, I would
rare.
sure elven
Huh.
strippers would be at higher class places.
Oh,
The amount of
well,
money, the amount of money that a elven stripper would demand would draw. Yeah, they're at high end places.
I'm
You're
not a
at
very good dancer.
you're in frickin' Woodlawn. But
I'm not a very
anyway,
good dancer anyway.
the
Okay, well,
girls say that yeah, they've seen him walking around the street. He thinks he's some kind of public police officer. They say that they have seen him walk by cops, and the cops never do anything to him though.
yeah, I understand. I get back out there to GOP and I go, we got to make sure he doesn't have protection from the police.
I think it's more of he's just not really considered important enough for them to do anything about. Plus, he's probably in that gray zone where it's like he's not important enough for them to do anything about, but he's also strong enough to where it'd be like a trouble for them.
Yeah.
Right, that's true. Yeah. But because as far as you know, he's just a human in a costume, right?
Hmm.
But you guys continue going to strip clubs and bars, and you get the same routine. Everybody along this strip, and this is the main stripper bar drinking strip that you're on. This road
Mhm.
you're on is where most of it is centralized. There are plenty of other roads that are more normal, but this one is mainly the red light district. If it we don't really have that in America, but you know what I mean. And everybody knows who Dick is. They don't know who he is, but everyone has seen him. Some of the nightclubs you go into, he has frequented in before. Some of the strip clubs he's been in before. Some he's not. But every single place you go and show that photo has seen Ranger Dick, and they
Oh,
all look at him in the same way as a joke.
yeah.
However, you do go finally into the at the end of the street. You go into the last strip club, and this one is called Dizzy Dan's. And Dizzy Dan's perks your interest because it's on the report. It is where he attacked the stenographer.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is the place he was drinking
He was.
at the bar. Isn't that what you
Well, you don't
said?
know. You're standing
No.
outside of Dizzy Dan's.
Let's go on in then.
Yep. Although I would assume they probably aren't going to let him back in.
You would
Too,
assume,
so
yeah.
yeah.
You
But
would assume.
by this time, it is 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You guys have been at this all day, well, all afternoon, and the place is actually moving now. There are your kind of degenerates that have nothing better to do, and they're spending their welfare checks in here. Of course, it will get busier when people get off of work and nighttime, obviously. But you got a good dozen people in here that are. It's a very very small place. There are two rows of kind of like love seats on the side for the lap dancing. There's some tables in the middle, and there's a single little dingy stage. Literally, can only accommodate one girl who cannot dance more than a foot to the right or to the left. It's very small. There's a little dirty bar, and this opens to you as soon as you enter the place. Meaning, there's no hallway, there's no security section like many of the other ones had. You walk in the door, boom, you're in the club. right?
Okay.
And there is the most of this place is accommodated by a bar that covers the entire width of the place, other than the small space for you to walk through and enter into the main body of the strip club. And the bar has got, say, 8 seats on it, and there are 3 men there drinking and eating pretzels. And there is a very large, how can I say this nicely? Woman of Cranston.
Okay.
Okay. And there's a stripper up there, and she actually is. You guys have been seeing strippers all day. She's kind of cute, little black girl actually. She's going with the old, Black Power 60s 70s Afro thing, and she's got a little leather suit that seems to be very Black Panthery. But she's actually fairly cute, which is interesting because not a lot of women of Cranston, a lot of that, right? But who do you want to talk to?
We'll ask around, see if anyone's seen the guy recently, obviously, or if anyone kind of knows where we can find him, you
Well, who
know.
you want to talk to? A patron or the bar
We'll ask.
back? Or
We'll
there's 2 strippers milling around the trying to get lap dances out of guys.
we'll
There's the
we'll we'll get to everyone. We'll start with the barkeep, and then
the lady of Cranston. Yes. So you go up, talk to her. She is broad, of course. And she has, uh, uh, you know, ear length strawberry blonde hair. She has a look on her face as if you are potentially the third person she will murder today. There's nothing pleasant about her. She rolls in and out of this shirt that is way too tight for company, of course, and the pants are as well. They're shorts. She is wearing sandals, obviously flip flops to be particular, pink ones. Yeah.
okay.
And she said, "Yeah, what do you want?"
Greetings. I was wondering, have you seen this individual recently? And if you have, if you could maybe direct me in the way of his whereabouts. And
Oh, that cocksucker. Yeah, he's always walking around like he's something. He came in here and caused trouble.
we're trying to track him down, but I'm not having any luck so far. I was hoping maybe someone here might be able to point us in the right direction.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. I think you go talk to Candy. I think she knows. Someone that knows him. She was saying. Anyway, you never know these strippers. They're a bunch of lying bitches anyway.
Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah, 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 yeah. As she spits in a glass and takes her shirt to clean it out.
Oh God.
Very nice, high class. I like it.
Women
Okay,
of
so,
Cranston.
yeah, we find Candy.
You go ask around a couple people. Candy is over on the right side of the joint, and she's trying to get a lap dance out of a, well, I don't know, meth head. I would imagine it's kind of what it looks like. Scrawny guy that is probably 10 meals past needing to eat, and he's got tracks all up and down his arm. Don't know why he'd be in a place like this, but he is welfare. Checks. They can spend it. They can use them any way they like, I guess. And she's really trying to talk him into it, and he's like, nah, 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 like that.
I'll I'll give her a few more minutes because it doesn't look like she's actually going to succeed, and then I'll
No, she moves along quite quickly and looking for her next potential victim.
I
Now,
walk up to her
okay, now
as
Candy is a sizable woman,
yeah.
and you notice that she does require shaving. Today she didn't do as good a job. There's a little spot just under the left right jaw that she missed. It's just a little patch,
Oh,
just a
wow.
little patch. Her makeup is on way too thick, but it wasn't. The makeup was not caked on enough because the hair, two of the hairs are still poking out of the makeup. The other ones have been matted down enough. But she's, I would say, of Irish descent. And you have
Okay,
no idea why she'd be called Candy because that's not the name that comes to your mind.
fair enough. I go, excuse me.
Oh, one of them omnicores. Hi.
The I was wondering if you could help us out here. We're trying to find this guy. Been causing trouble, and we need to
Oh,
speak with him.
Ranger Dick. Yeah, no, he thinks he's a superhero like you guys, but he's not official.
So we've heard. Look, is there do you have any idea how to find this guy, where he frequents? Anything really that we can go on to maybe try and talk with him?
Well, my friend says that he has a girl down in Oak Hill.
Uh, do you happen to know this girl's name, or?
Of course, I know this girl's name. She's my friend.
Oh, okay, I thought out of character. I thought you said that his friend said, or
Her
her friend,
friend said.
yeah, her friend, yeah. Well, the facial hair threw me off. So her friend said that that he had a girl somewhere else. Okay. Uh, well, anyways, whatever. It's one step closer. So, uh, can we get a name? We're not trying to get your friend in trouble or
Is
anything.
there any reward?
Uh, character. How are we supposed to handle this sort of thing if someone gives information that leads to the arrest of somebody on the list?
You, at your current status, can give up to, including all of, $100.
If it leads to us being able to apprehend this individual, it's well, I let her know it could be up to $100. Not a huge amount, but it's still something.
I'll say, oh, $100, sure. She puts her hand out.
She wants paid now.
Well, okay, I'll basically tell you what. I'll give you half of it now, and half of it if we actually catch the guy.
She contemplates for 2 seconds and like, okay.
Okay, I'll give her $50.
All right, you give her $50, and you of course take note because you have to paperwork on that.
Mm-hmm.
But just keep in mind, this is a crack whore. You could have got it for 8.
I probably could have.
Yeah,
They're giving her
And a
20, not a
chance.
50.
yeah. But nevertheless, she gives you a name, Patty Tillman.
Sound familiar.
And she gives you her address, which is literally less than a mile down this street, just off the block.
I'm going to assume that Kitty's listening.
Of course, Kitty's listening.
Yeah, into the thing. I'll just be like, you want to put up some information for us on this individual?
She brings up a heads up for those of you who have it, and like I said, it's a mile down the road south, and it's just off the block. So it's like you take a left hand side street, and she is in one of these thingies, of course. You have the address, and it's confirmed that she lives there. And she says that Patty works down at the docks over in where's that area there? I can't remember the area in Providence, but just south of here in Providence. There she works on the docks on the Seekonk River.
Okay. Well, I'm assuming once we have her name and her residence, we could probably get all the information that.
Kitty comes back and says that if if things are to schedule, she should be home anytime after 6.
So we
Okay.
got 2 hours to spend. Yeah, well, let's go
Well,
watch your place for a while. See if
it's also that would be the end of your shift as well, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
past your time.
but still, we can at least even if we can talk to her afterwards, that'd be just extra stuff on us.
Well,
she ain't gonna get my command.
just as long as you know, because you're actually should be heading back and doing your end of day duties right now.
Well, we can do that right now, anyways. And
Fair.
yeah.
So you basically punch out, fill out paperwork. Of course, you have to fill out paperwork for the money you just gave away.
Hmm.
And you guys do all your paperwork, and then after hours, more after hours things for you guys. You head back over to Woodlawn and to Patty's house, and sure enough, at 5:50, she shows up and is walking into her front door. Patty is quite slim. She is similar age, 30 something, but she is very thin. Of course, being it's September, the weather's starting to come on now in this in the Northeast. So she's probably already in a sweater. We'll say it's a green one, and she's wearing jeans. Quite a normal looking lady, nothing like her friend Candy.
Okay.
Was the light on in her apartment before she got there?
Nope. Of course, it's technically daytime, but
Yeah, but it's
Uh.
closer to the evening now, right? So
there were no lights.
no light.
Okay.
So he's not there.
Who
Uh.
do you think would be there?
Cop
Did you not
camper.
listen to what I said, lady?
No. No. No.
No, I didn't. I missed it.
Okay.
That's fine.
So what do you do?
Uh, I'm going to go up and say, "Pardon me, ma'am." Uh, you know.
Well, she's already in the place. You'd have to go knock on the
Oh,
door.
she already went in. Okay, my bad. I go knock on the door.
She shows up, and like I said, she's 30 something, very normal lady, very thin. She's got brown hair, which comes down to the middle of her back. She's got it pulled up in a ponytail right now. And she's very normal looking, New Englander, right? And she says, "Yeah, sure. What do you need?"
I show her the picture, and it's like, we're trying to find the whereabouts of this individual. It goes by the name of Ranger Dick.
Yeah, this guy, he thinks he's a superhero.
Yeah, so we've heard. Uh, you
Yeah,
could
no, she says, I don't really know much, but my friend Sally says that he actually is dating Laura down in Oak Hill.
does Laura happen to have a last name?
Nah, you'd have to talk to Sally.
I feel like this is gonna be a long game of just going from one person to the other. Like, now my friend says, okay. Well, tell you what. Can you give us Sally's information and we can?
Sure. Sally. Sally comes walking
Good.
to the door.
Of course.
And Sally is in pajamas. It looks like she's been in those for a day or two. Her hair is a mess. She has tissues stuffed in her nose, and she looks sick as a dog. And she comes and she says, "Yes, what can I help you with?"
I do the whole spiel, and like, hey, could you help us find this guy? Like, thing, and like, ask her about her friend Laura if what her last name is.
Yeah, she says, "Yeah, I don't know if they're still dating, but Laura was dating him."
Well, this is more of a lead than anything else we have. So
Yeah, I think his name is. I think his name is Rick Williams? No. Rick White.
So his name was Rick, but he went by Dick. Okay, I gotcha. Rick White. Okay, I asked Kitty if she's got anything on a Rick White.
Um, she very quickly brings something up. There's a guy that works down at the docks, same docks that Patty works at, actually. You see a picture of him from his driver's license, and his width seems to fit the personality. He is a oh, what's that? What is that name of that job where they put things on the boats?
Crane operator?
No. There's an actual word for it. I can't remember. Anyway, he works on the docks, loading and unloading, similar to what you do, GOP. Yeah, his name is Richard Philip White.
Okay. Do we know what his schedule looks like, and also an address, or?
Actually, she's looking through here and she says it looks like he lost his job a week ago.
Okay. Do we have an address?
You do. It's right here in Oak Hill. Matter of fact, it's
Okay.
3 blocks over.
Cool. Then I guess we'll go over there then.
All right. Um, uh, you thank the girls, and they're just normal people, so they don't give you a hard time whatsoever. And of course, Laura looks quite sick. Nevertheless, you guys head over just a few blocks, and you're standing in front of a completely different building.
It looks the same.
Well, they all look.
Okay, so
They
this
all
has
look
a
exactly
base.
like this. Yeah.
This has a basement, and then the first floor, then the second floor, and
Oh,
then the
you've
third
never
floor.
been to New England. I see.
No, I have not.
Yes, every building in New England has a basement.
Okay. Are there apartments down there? Or are they actually used for storage?
Who knows?
Who knows? You
They're
know.
just
Well, I know, but these places, depending, because you got to understand, New England, this migrant crisis thing that's going on in America, it's not new. I mean,
Yeah,
you get a lot of Puerto Ricans and Dominicans flooding into Rhode Island, a lot of them, right?
all the time.
And they're not necessarily legal, and they will pile them high in these places, right?
Hmm.
In one apartment that's maybe designed for 2 people, you can find 10. Right? It's no joke. It's like it used to be back in the old days when we had all the migration coming over through Ellis Island, and in New York they would pack them in like that. It's still going on.
Yeah.
So who knows? But all New England places have basements. You got to understand, New England, including New York and that Northeast, all of that is sitting on top of a gigantic rock. Not it depending on where you are, the depth, but it's not very deep. And there's this giant rock that just sits on the entire northeast, and therefore you can build anything, including skyscrapers, quite securely because of that giant ass rock. So it's a very rocky terrain, and therefore basements are very safe and easy thing to do. So why not have one?
Yep. See if Kitty can get any kind of satellite imagery on the place.
She says that, well, it's as you see.
What are you trying to
Yeah,
gather?
what is it you're after, lady?
You know, like heat
What do you want?
signatures, like where a
Oh,
big heat signature.
you do not have access to that kind of funding. She would have to
That's
put requisitions in. Oh my.
over Ranger Dick. I don't think they're gonna.
Yeah.
No,
You
they're
gotta
not.
you gotta keep in mind, lady, you are low budget superheroes.
Hmm?
You don't have all that fancy stuff, and if those things do get used, it's got to be the Paw Patrol, not the rookies.
Yeah.
Because keep in mind, Kitty is a rookie too. She's perfect for her job, and
Yeah.
but she's a rookie. Randy isn't, but Randy's also not seen as being very useful, is he? Yo-Yo Mama has no regard for him whatsoever, right? So
All
So
you're
right.
all kind of in the same boat, and if she were to do something like that, she'd get in trouble.
Okay, that's fine.
now, lady, what is your? It's so if we're trying to actually like communicate with people, that'd be empathy. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So, lady, what is your empathy?
Hang on. Empathy. Excellent.
Okay, so you should probably be the one doing the talking because
Yeah.
mine's only good.
Oh, but you're such a better talker than I am.
I don't think I'm
I
that
have to
good of
go
a
through
talker
like 2
anyway.
different languages in order to speak English. You know how hard that is?
My point is that we're trying to talk him into just coming with us willingly, and like, because I mean, maybe like we could,
Wow.
try and not do the violence route.
This is the
'Cause
point where everyone watching realizes that GOP doesn't know me at all.
no, I get it. I
Oh,
get
you
it.
don't want you want to do a parlay?
right?
Well, technically, what
But
he's saying, ladies, your character is better at parlaying than his. Your
Okay,
character
fine.
is better. Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah, but she's already known. Both of us are already known, so
because he wants to be a hero, he just doesn't have any idea what he's
yeah. Yeah.
you
I'll
know.
go up to his place, very excited, smiling a lot, knock on his door,
If anything, Chester, this is going to be the more entertaining option.
unzip the uniform in front where a little
Wow.
cleavage showing.
Can't
Wow,
pull
we're
a run
going
take, huh? All right. All right.
okay.
Fine. That's fine. Anyway, you knock on the door, and this very large, burly man, he's got to be 6'5", very wide, burly, of mixed Scandinavian of a mixture, racial mixture. He's wearing a pair of stained shorts, no shoes whatsoever, very hairy legs, so must be more German than Norwegian. And he has a let's see here, Powerpuff Girl T-shirt.
Powerpuff Girl, she squeals.
He's like,
Huh.
yes, as he kind of pushes his glasses back into place. Well, how can I help the Omni course today?
She looks closer to him.
2 or 3 days past shaven, but to be fair, he's a splotchy guy, so he doesn't really need to grow
Yeah,
a beard if
she'll
he
reach up
wanted
there
to.
and scratch his beard a little bit.
Oh, what?
Hi.
Hold on a second. What?
What
She'll
did he
reach up
do?
and scratches his beard a little bit.
Oh, Jesus. GOP.
Okay, fine.
Uh,
I pull her hand down, looking at her like,
What?
"What are you doing?"
that is not how you do things at all, lady.
I,
You always take these very strange angles,
I
which
okay,
makes it more interesting, to be fair, GOP.
true.
Hey, you wanted to be a
Oh
hero,
Lord.
right?
But what do you
Oh
know? You don't even know this is your guy.
yeah,
This is
you
not
don't know
how
any.
you do
Oh, come
policing. Come
on.
on,
Okay,
lady. It's not how
I
you
push her
do.
back. Pardon me. Uh, Mr. White, is it?
Yes, that was extremely unprofessional. I do apologize, but it is in your bylaws that is not allowed for you to touch people in such an inappropriate manner. Um, as pushing up his glasses every 5 seconds.
Be in trouble. Go ahead and
I do
report me.
apologize. I will have to report you.
Fine, I'm already in trouble anyway. So stomp down the hallway. Let him talk to him.
We're we're here to talk. Okay. Sorry about that. She's foreign.
Uh,
Um.
yes,
Sure.
she is the elven member of the trainee team that you are also a part of, Almighty Cloaca.
You've heard of me.
Oh, yes, I keep track of all Omni news.
See, Mr. White. We're looking for someone. Are you familiar? And I'm keeping an eye on his demeanor as I say this. Are you familiar with a Mr. Ranger Rick? Ranger Dick. I'm sorry, not Ranger Rick. Ranger Dick.
Ranger Rick was a
Ranger
cartoon
Dick. I
character
know. I
made
I
for Boy
caught myself.
Scouts back in
I
the
caught myself.
Ranger Dick would be my twin brother.
Your twin brother
Yes. Kitty
is he?
comes in your ear. There is no twin documented.
Ah,
Mm-hmm.
I see. Well, we were interested in speaking with him. You
He
see,
is he is a hero. Not quite your level, but he hopes one day to be your level. He's tried to enter the Omnicores on several occasions, but they said there was a slight problem with him not having any superpowers.
it's hasn't stopped. I know people who are in Omnicore who don't have any superpowers, but
Yes, I agree
he is
100%. Lady says this guy here you're talking to has tried to take the test. He hasn't got the written test. He's done it 5 times.
he's one of those. Okay. Well, your your twin brother, he's caused some issues for some people, and we're trying to I don't know, trying to set things right.
Yes, well, as is he.
Ah, yes. Well, uh, just you know, when he if you'd be interested, we'd like to get your twin brother to come down to the station with us and chat.
Oh, well, I have not seen him in a week.
Well, I mean, if you could come down and answer some questions, it would be very much appreciated.
You want me to go down to the Omnicore International headquarters in downtown Pawtucket?
Oh yeah, I'll even get you some signed memorabilia if you.
Oh, he says, well, I should change. He leaves the door open as he goes into this room. You can peer in. I don't know whether you want to enter or not, but you can certainly peer in, and it is a shambles, dude. There are open pizza boxes on the ground. There's clothing all over the place. The carpet is stained to the point that it looks like a sticky wood.
Great.
There are cockroaches everywhere. It is an absolute abomination of an apartment. He goes around a corner and he comes back very quickly. All he changed was his shorts into a cleaner pair,
Okay. Cool. Well,
and
that's
he
some
and he has flip flops on,
very nice.
and
Well,
he
we
very happily comes along with you. Now, how are you going to transport this guy, seeing as you both are flying?
thought we had vehicles. I just
You
didn't use
do,
it.
but you're not using them. You too.
True. We we call it Uber. Why not?
Sure. You get this Chicano show up in an Uber. He's got one of those cheap ass what are they, Ford or Chevy vans,
Mm-hmm.
SUV
Okay.
types. You guys all pile in, and like I said, he's a big burly guy and he smells bad. He smelled bad before, but now that you're having to sit next to him, wow, wow. But he seems quite giddy, actually. And of course, this short ride later, you pay the Uber driver, and of course, once again, you got to get a receipt. And you go into the Pawtucket headquarters of Omnicore.
All right. And so, uh, when we're dealing with someone with a clear mental illness like this, does does the Pawtucket chapter of Omnicore have any facilities to deal with, to maybe evaluate
That
them?
is one of many, many, many things that would be sent over to the Providence station chapter. Because keep in mind, Rhode Island is basically protected by the Providence chapter. The chapter is placed in Providence. Pawtucket was, this is kind of like a smaller side chapter. It was created just simply because this small area is so heavily infested with super powered criminals. They're all lower tier, but it seems to be a gathering place here in Central Falls. They kind of found the loophole, right, with Central Falls. But that's why this chapter exists, is because of the particular issue in this small area. So Providence actually handles most things statewide.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I mean, we got him here. He's in our building.
He is.
I will. I'll Well, is Yo-Yo Mama currently there?
She is, as usual. She's sitting in her office. To be fair, I mean, she's a big old lady, but she is quite efficient. She's always working. She's always doing something. She's not some lazy ass. She takes her job seriously.
All right. I'll ask lady's character. I'll basically. Oh, we did come up with a superhero name for her, by the way. I don't know if we talked about that on
Oh,
air.
go ahead.
Yeah, lady, would you like to give your superhero name?
Hang on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in suspense. All right.
Emerald. Ah, God dang it.
Well,
Fall.
Emerald Wind.
Emerald.
Emerald
Yeah.
Wind.
Emerald Wind. I can't do that.
Green gem. Emerald
Yeah.
Wind.
Emerald.
Makes
Okay.
sense.
Cool.
I drop the D all the
Makes
time.
sense. Emerald. But okay, we got Emerald Wind here, and now you guys do have in this building, because we're looking at the building right now. You do have a holding area and an interrogation area. You do have. You're not completely inefficient. Now, here's the question, though: do you want to put him in holding, or do you want to just question him in the interrogation area?
Really, I mean, what he needs is a proper psychological evaluation, anyways, and to get that sort of help. We can't really do that here because I mean, clearly he's got major issues. So I was gonna see if Emerald would what, like, basically keep him busy on the tour. I'll go speak with Yo-Yo Ma to see if we
Sure,
can
we'll
get
go through the cafeteria.
right. Yeah, and
Give him
maybe
all
I'll
kinds
do
of things to eat.
with Yo-Yo Ma to like see like what's the sort of procedure we do to handle these sort of cases. Is
Okay.
is there people that are specifically designed to, or people that specifically do
Right,
this
I'll
sort
get
of
to you in a minute.
yeah.
Lady, you take him on the tour to the lunchroom, and of course,
Yeah.
Danny is a permanent fixture in there. His desk seems to be the corner table next to the whatchamacallit machine. Don't you question me. You better believe there's a whatchamacallit machine in here.
Yeah, those candy bars are great.
They are great, and I haven't had one in decades. Decades.
Okay, I gotta go find one. It should be popular now that it's almost Halloween.
Yeah, that and Reese's Pieces. Those are my favorite things. I haven't had in forever. But that's all right. Probably better. I mean, I have lost lots of weight because of it. But nevertheless, Danny's just doing he just plays video games all day, it seems. You still don't know what Danny's there for. But nevertheless,
Well, you told us he was the nutritionist.
now he did say that.
Yeah.
But it seems that Mandy does more of that than he does.
Okay.
However, immediately though, as you come in this area, Rick or Mr. White starts explaining all of the various ingredients to all the various snack foods here and companies' history. He's just rattling on. He's insanely knowledgeable about junk food.
He's got photographic memory.
He might well. Yes, and this particular candy bar was originally invented in Chicago in 1922 by the Holmes family. They originally had this percentage of sugar, but it was later decided during the 60s that they should increase. He's going on like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just keep an eye on him, and he does look over and he says, "Someone said something about signed memorabilia. I really would like to have something from Flair.
Okay.
Thank you."
Is
But
there is there a place that they keep stuff like that?
you would
Well,
imagine you probably have to go talk to probably Randy would be in charge of that stuff. But of course they have PR is a thing, right?
PR is a thing. Yeah. Yeah. We'll talk with Randy before we let you go home.
He's like, "Oh, that sounds very. I don't know who Randy is."
Randy's
But
in charge of PR. So,
oh, okay. Well,
what
he's
do you
not
know
that.
about this? This one tastes very. I'm not used to these sweet things, but what? I don't like that one there.
Well, that one has licorice in it. I understand. I'm not a big fan of licorice either. I hear the elves consider it to be a poison.
Ay.
But anyway, whilst you have these conversations, the cloaca is speaking to Yo-Yo Mama. Go ahead.
I, I tell her the situation. We picked him up. We, we basically have him here, but he's clearly got like a severe mental illness kind of thing. What is the proper way to handle this sort of situation? Because I mean, this is it's kind of a unique situation. We're not, you know, like we need someone to evaluate his mental states.
Mm. She says she opens her right side drawer. She shuffles through a bunch of files and takes a piece of paper out of one. She says, "File this 10P-20D4 and give it to Kitty, and they'll send someone from Providence to come and pick him up."
Thank you very much.
Very well.
And
Good job.
yep, then we did that one without violence so far.
So you head
Hey.
over to Kitty to kind of coordinate with her, get this paperwork filled out because she has all the details. And of course, she's your communication person, so she's got to communicate with Providence. So
Mhm.
you head over to do with Kitty. Lady, by this time, you find yourselves over talking to Randy. And Randy is, he's a big man, but, and he's a nerd for sure. But he ain't nowhere near this level, and even he's kind of looking sideways at this guy. But because he's talking to Randy about the history of Flair, and he seems to know everything about her. Keep in mind, just sort of, for reference sake, that's Flair. Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually, I thought the player was a guy.
No,
No.
no.
She's like
Unless
you, actually. No, that's Zephyr's like you. But yeah, no. She's one of the more. She's probably the most popular. Her and the pretty boy. But he knows the entire history of Flair, and he's like, "I was told I would get signed memorabilia from Flair. That you were in charge of it. Do I have a selection that I might choose from?" And Randy looks at you, lady, in waiting for approval, basically.
Yeah, she like shakes her head. Yeah, yeah.
Well, he goes over to one of those architectural drawing drawers, the ones
Uh
with the very wide and large drawers, and he goes and he kind of goes to the third one down. He pulls it out and he brings a selection over, and they're basically just various size posters of Flair. They're all signed. Some of them she's in action poses. Others is like the one I just showed, where it's more promotional. There was a few years back a swimsuit edition calendar photo, and that's in here and signed. And immediately Rick says, "I want that one."
huh. What will your girlfriend say though?
Oh, she left me. They always leave me. But she really wasn't my girlfriend anyway. It was really my brother's. He's
Um,
bold and action based. The ladies like that.
is your brother like you? Can retain all that information in your head?
No, he's more of an athlete. He
Oh,
was part of the wrestling team when we were in high school.
you seem like you're very smart to me.
Well, thank you, but No one cares about those things. Randy rolls it up, puts it in a tube, seals it, and hands it over to him. You file your paperwork, and Providence says after you do all that stuff, GOP. Let's see. Yeah, we'll be there on October 7th.
Which is how long from now?
Well, what is today?
I mean, we have him here now. Like, the reason why we filled out the paperwork is because we apprehended the guy.
Oh, you're not
know?
having a conversation. That was a DM.
I DM back saying, yeah, we have the guy. He's here.
No
I
response.
mean, cool.
And
Great.
so what is today? Today's the 26th, 27th,
27th for you probably.
So basically a week and a half.
Cool.
10 days.
Wow. Our options are either we cut this guy loose, or, since, we wanted him anyways.
Put him in holding.
We put him in holding. Yeah. But the problem is, I guess we could put him in holding. It'd just be a while for him to sit and wait. But, yeah. What do you want to do? Should we just show him the cell, be like, oh, here, by the way, and then just shut the door and yeah.
Sure. Why not?
Well, that'd be mean.
We never told him he was under arrest either, or gave him his rights. Does he have
we
rights?
invited him over here, so now we kind of have to go over it with him, basically what's going on. Okay.
Randy, my dear, I'm just going to come clean. You don't have a twin brother.
That's not Randy.
Oh, wow. This is exactly
Randy.
the wrong thing to do. Again, ladies. Again. Why would you do this?
To cause problems.
Yeah, but you gotta think logically, man.
Okay, fine. Well, let's go have a sit down. I'm not really the questionnaire type of person. Oh, did you want to fill out that complaint while we're here? On me?
He says, it is unfortunate, but I can do it online.
Okay. I didn't see a computer in your room when we glanced in. But okay.
So what are you guys going to do?
Yeah, I'm going to show him around and show him the cells. And then once we get him in the cell, I'm going to just kind of explain the place, and then slowly walk back, and then shut the door, and then tell him. Then we can explain what's going on.
Yes, see, this is correct. Now, he immediately starts, as you're backing out, he doesn't even pay attention to you. He says, is this where you held Butch Bundy? Now, that kind of information shouldn't be in the public, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But he clearly knows about Butch Bundy. That is very specific, and that should worry you. But nevertheless, you shut the door, and he does turn around and he says, what exactly is proceeding here?
I'll basically explain the situation, I'll come clean about basically what's going on, that he's wanted, and for the the
you
whole
do realize
Ranger.
my brother's activities have nothing to do with me.
We believe that you do realize that your brother doesn't actually exist on the record, right? There's no twin brother in the
He's
system.
looking at you like you're a moron.
I mean, I could show him records, but he probably wouldn't believe them. Get out a tablet and be like, you don't have a twin. There's no twin in the system. It's just you.
My brother is very savvy with electronics and computers. You don't understand him. Nevertheless, I get to do it. Can I keep my memorabilia?
Of course you can.
He sits quietly down.
Okay, cool. We've great. So
Going home. Oh,
what's
paperwork
anything else
done?
we
Go
have to
home.
fill out about this whole situation? We get all that done. Everything. We've apprehended him without fighting him because that would have just been kind of cruel. Honestly, he's clearly severely mentally ill.
And of course, there are many other people here other than the main faces I've shown you. There's workers, and there's there are at least a dozen people that work in this building, other than the ones you know. So of course, everything will be operated and handled normally. The A couple of Omni officers actually enter the cell to get fingerprint stuff. He's quite docile. He causes no trouble. You guys go home.
Well, before we go though, I will ask him about how he knew that information about the Bundy individual.
My brother has a certain setup in the apartment that monitors all activities dealing with police, federal government, and Omnicorps.
What I'm wondering is if you're so smart, why didn't you try and apply?
I am not a violent person like my brother.
Well, you've met some of the people here. They weren't violent. They helped out people.
It never interested me.
Well, you can always consider it for the future. Um, you know, I got it. My character's got a soft spot for redemption kind of
Of course
things,
you do.
considering
Yeah,
his
it's
history.
perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys go home. Um, when you come back the next day, there have been no shenanigans. He's still in the cell. He's being cared for as normally would be. They've got to hold him for 9 more days.
Yeah.
But the information come back. The fingerprints is he is Richard Philip White, and he has zero criminal record. He doesn't even have a speeding ticket. He's
Hmm.
never had any interaction with the law in any way in his entire life.
Was he a wrestler in school?
He was not. He was part
They,
of the AV club.
hmm.
Most of the high school things are now online, the pictures and stuff, the annuals.
Mhm.
Gotta go through one of those to see if there's two of them.
Well, you go to. He went to Oak Hill, high school.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, the apartment he is in seems to be that of his parents. His parents died a decade ago, unfortunately, in a tragic car accident. Which you guys are smart enough to recognize that this is the same time that the Ranger Dick started showing up. Shortly after that. You look for his the online yearbooks and stuff like that, and interestingly enough, the page where alphabetically his name should be are not online.
Hmm.
Can we get a warrant to go investigate his place?
I would imagine you certainly could. You have a person in custody who is connected to various crimes. That would probably be very easy to get. Yes.
Okay. Gonna take some extra hands and go over there and investigate the place, see if there's a computer. Constant will also check the if he has an assigned. Well, if people live in the basement or not, or if apartments above it got assigned basements for storage. Understand what I'm talking about?
I do.
Okay.
Kitty goes through the process. It doesn't take very long, actually. To get a warrant to go in, you have to go in with a police officer, though, because you're dealing with the public.
Uh huh.
But when you guys get there, there are several police officers waiting. There is a single storage unit in the basement for this that is allotted to this apartment. You guys, the landlord's there, has a key for the apartment door as well as the storage unit. And opening the door once again, this is the waft. It's just this is disgusting in here. It's a small apartment. It has a living room. It has a small kitchen off to the side that is separated by a kind of wall. There's a hallway down the back with 2 bedrooms and a bath.
Hey, Puffin.
Puffin.
I'm back from the other city.
One
Well-
of the doors has a paper seal on the door. It's just a piece of paper that goes from the door to the frame, and there's some foreign language written on it you don't recognize. To one of the bedrooms. The other bedroom, the door is missing completely, and it's an absolute shambles. There is one of those bunk beds, but it has a normal sized bed and then a small bunk bed atop it at the head of it. You know those type. And it's a very tight room. There's 2 desks in here. You see it's just absolute mess. The bedding has not been changed maybe in years. On the wall, there are many, many pictures, and most of the pictures they look identical person. But one is associated with just a couple of pictures. The other one is sitting next to a bunch of wrestling trophies. And even though they look identical in the face, their character does not come across. One is shy and unassuming. The other one is super confident, jock type. You find the same thing throughout the house. You find mom, dad, grandma, grandpa pictures, cousins, and you see several pictures with 2 twin young boys standing side by side in them.
Do we? Does he? So there is another person. Well, I mean, the pictures look like it, unless he edited a photo to make it look like that. But
It's possible.
yeah,
See if there's a family album. Well, that's what we found it, right?
Well, those are on the thing, but you do find a family album in a drawer that's dusty, hadn't been touched in a long time. And yep, sure enough, there are 2 boys. They are twins. Matter of fact, as you're digging through here, you find birth certificates.
Oh,
Okay, Kitty. We're looking at birth certificates saying there was
She
twins.
says there is no record of such a thing that she can see. When you guys eventually do, there's nothing of note beyond this in the apartment. It's just disgustingly filthy. But when you get downstairs to the storage unit, it is one of those types that they've. It probably didn't look like this when the building was originally built, but as with this, there's hallways and there's different apartment entrances, right? An internal stairwell. It's very similar looking down here, and they're all corrugated steel fronting with roll doors. The landlord opens it, rolls it up, and inside is, the typical storage room size that you would imagine. So it's not very big, but inside of this place, there is basically a small ultra neat apartment with a very large computer, some kind of electronic station. It's very sophisticated. Give everybody who is here, which is you two, because the cops are still upstairs. They don't really give a shit. They're just here because they were told to be here. So you two are down here by yourselves with the landlord. Give me a wisdom check, please.
okay. 32, and my wisdom is a. Let me pull that up. I have this set up. My wisdom is good.
So yeah, you're unaware, lady.
Nope.
I am excellent on wisdom and fixing to roll.
You don't have any skills that might bump that up, like say detective espionage, which I
Oh
asked
yeah,
the question.
I know, I know.
I
know the answer.
I got
switch out my-
espionage.
So that would bump you up to remarkable. So go ahead.
I should be bumped up one as well.
Still, you
Detective
didn't have that.
espionage, perfect memory, fighter pilot.
Yeah,
Okay.
detective espionage. So it bumps it up to remarkable. Go ahead and roll.
Okay.
Hey, Puffin, by the way.
Hello.
Whoops. Hang on. Let me clear that.
I mean, you could roll too since you're
Yeah,
back.
just roll the dice, lady. Just go ahead and roll. I have the
I'm
charts in
rolling.
front of me.
I just did too many
Okay,
things.
54 is definitely going to succeed. Now, lady, you guys are about to walk into this place, and you notice something on the floor that the Almighty Cloaca wouldn't really had recognized what it is anyway. To be fair, there is a rune on the floor, and it is active. And
I
GOP is about to step
put
across.
my hand in front of his chest where he stops walking, and I point down. Magic. I didn't know our friend knew magic.
This is pretty strange.
Now, lady, you are a wizard.
Yeah.
So give me an intelligence roll, and you get to add a column shift to that because you are accustomed to magic. So what is your intelligence?
No.
Your logic, I think, is the way I wrote it.
There's logic. Excellent.
So it would be a remarkable again. Make another roll.
I
Okay.
can't even see it. So
Yeah, no,
whatever it
you can.
is.
You just can't. You don't know what type of spell it is. You do know that this is druidic. You know that. But
Okay.
you recognize the language. The runic language is written in as druidic, which is not what you use. You use more Ogum. If you were to do those kind of things, you're a different kind of spellcaster. But anyway,
Yeah, but she knows somebody who can
I'm sure
untangle
you
it.
do. I'm sure you do.
Okay.
But that would involve dimensional travel, and I don't know how well access you have to such things or the time needed to do so. Nevertheless, there is an active spell on the floor. You don't know what it is, but it is certainly active. And keep in mind, uh, there is a bedroom upstairs that has some weird language on it, GOP, and it
Uh,
looks just like this language on the floor. And you guys didn't go in there because remember, there's a piece of paper that's basically sealing the door, right?
yeah. Okay, so we'll see if there's anything. I mean, because I'm assuming that Omnicore has dealt with magical stuff in the past. So
Sure.
I would, basically see if Kitty has anything in her records about this sort of thing. And also
So you
the
want
the
Kitty to make a roll. Cheating bastard.
well, I mean, what? Not much else we can do
No,
in
that's
this.
fine. This is her thing.
Uh, could we also probably?
Kitty rolls under incredible for these things. Because she has a computer helping. 67, I think, is a yellow. It is. Kitty not only confirms, lady, that it is druidic, but it is not that Kitty knows anything about magic, but it says here that this is an explosive protection ward.
What about both of them were, or just the one of
They're
the?
identically written. They're the same
Okay.
characters. Yes.
Okay. So any idea how to, dispel it?
You would have to
Do we have
call in
any?
an expert. She says we do have expert access to a person from Fall River.
Okay, well we make sure the police know that there's, basically a potentially dangerous we let them know that don't go past this barrier because it's magically sealed kind of thing and it's potentially very dangerous.
Well, lucky for
So,
us, they didn't give a shit. So
yeah,
that's works
right?
out. But they back up. They put police seals on both the apartment door and the storage container or storage space. And they call in, and you can hear the chatter that those two are to remain there until relieved. Because the one thing that in this modern time, police and various other agencies, they take magic very seriously because magic can get nasty, very nasty. They're actually doing their job now. They're on alert and they're being policemen. How nice. Kitty says that she just spoke to Mr. Harlan and he is on his way.
So clearly, this guy is into some much crazier stuff than we initially thought. He's not this like this is definitely a lot bigger. If he's able to hack into records and
What I was thinking is that we take the picture from the family album and the other picture that it has both of them in there, and see if the picture was recently made or how old the picture from the family album is compared to the other picture.
You can
sure,
do
but I
this while GOP deals with Mr. Harlan.
Certainly. Okay. Take
Okay.
this to forensics.
You go and do that, and by the time you get back, what we're doing with GOP will be finished. Yeah, they're just old photos. Mr. Harlan shows up, Cloaca, and Mr. Harlan is from Fall River, and he is not only an expert on magic, he is an actual member of the Modern Magi.
I give him a polite greeting and kind of give him the rundown on. I'm assuming he's already got it, but I give him the rundown again of what's occurred and what be the situation at hand.
Now, he's a very old and wizened man that has a very sparse and prickly Van Dyke, gray-haired man with glasses. Looks like an old Jew, really, like kind of the watchmaker type of clothing he's got on. But he
Hmm.
comes in and he's at the apartment first, and he goes over and he looks and he says, it is very crude, but effective. You see him cast a little spell. I mean, he doesn't say anything. He just kind of twinkles his fingers and magic, and you see this kind of little teeny puff of smoke. It's quite cute, actually, puff of smoke, and the paper just dissolves in fire. And he opens the door, and he puts his hand forward for you to enter. He said, "You said there was one downstairs as well."
Yes. Could
Indeed.
you tell who did the enchantment?
I
An
think you were.
amateur.
An amateur. Okay.
And he goes downstairs. Who's anybody gonna go with him, or just let him do him himself?
Yeah, I'll go with
Uh,
him.
Okay.
okay.
Or do you want to go with him? Whichever.
No, that's fine. You can go. I'll look around the room.
This room is empty. There's a bed that has been dismantled and it's leaning up against the wall. There is a dresser and a vanity, but they have nothing upon them. The drawers are full of clothing. Of course, the vanity has jewelry and stuff, but this has not been touched in a very long time. The closet has clothing hanging in it, but this room seems to be unused. Like I said, it's just the furniture has been moved to the wall side, and the bed has been dismantled. There's nothing else in here, GOP.
Okay. I mean, I'll check and make sure there's no false walls or because we don't know what we're dealing with. But if there's nothing in there, then I'll move on.
Okay, you go downstairs. By the time you get down there, the wizard or the magi has removed the rune. He does say that this one was a little bit more professional in its construction, but not the spell itself. He kind of rants a little bit about how he would have used this spell instead. It would have been more effective, harder to disenchant, whatever. But it does seem to be an improvement of skill, is what he's trying to say. However, he checks the entire room and there are no other enchantments, although he does find you guys find there's a locker which he's checking every opening device to make sure it's not ruined, right? There's a locker, and inside this locker, there is just wizardly stuff, right? It's one of those lockers that has shelves, and there are books, there are casting components, there are crystals, there are things in jars. It's and once again he says this is a very amateur toolkit, but many beginning wizards start with these kinds of things, he explains to you. Everything else in the place, other than a bed, a very small makeshift kitchen, and everything else in here is extremely technical. Some of the technology in here is actually quite impressive. Mr. Alien, are you here yet?
I can arrive soon. I'll arrive. Me and GOP haven't finalized my rework yet, so
That's
yeah,
fine.
I'll show up.
So eventually you come moseying in, and as you're looking around the room, and if you, Kitty has made you updated you on what's going on here, but you actually initially immediately are drawn to the technology. This is high tech stuff, dude. I mean, these are computers and monitors and wavelength, adjusters and monitoring systems. It's very, very advanced for humans.
This doesn't bode well for what we may be facing, but I'm like more intrigued. Like, ooh, it has this, and ooh, they have one of these. This is
Time.
a bit
Time
high
out.
tech for your
Mhm.
species.
Time out for a second. He hasn't seen his brother in a week.
That's what he said.
When did we have Bundy in the cell?
2
Less than
days ago.
2 days ago.
Yeah.
And his brother told him, well, either he got down into this thing and heard about Bundy or something else.
Just because the other twin isn't the twin you're looking for doesn't mean he can't lie. I mean, it is his brother after all.
True. But he hasn't been spotted since his brother's been taken in, has he?
Not since, it hasn't been that long, but no.
Yeah, okay. Have some professionals to come and take the stuff apart for
Well,
the
you
be
do have a
analyzed.
professional here right now.
Okay. Okay.
And we should also check the magical stuff for prints and see if
Of
Checking for
course, all of that
yeah.
is going on. Keep in mind, the police are here, and you have your
Yeah.
kind of standard agents here as well. Like I said,
Yeah.
I've introduced you to the characters that are important to you. There are other people who work at the Pawtucket Omnicore chapter.
True.
So all of that is
I'm
going
just
on. Yeah.
yeah, I'm just curious myself. It's like, do they match our suspect? Any prints on these these materials?
Well,
Stuff
I see
in
what you're
the
saying, and
yeah.
I'm going to. That will happen after what I do with Puffin, but they are not a match to the man who's
Oh,
sitting in your holding cell. They are not. Matter of fact, you don't find his prints anywhere in this room whatsoever. However, they are found upstairs all over the place, of course. Puffin, give me a technology roll, please.
Okie dokie.
I'm guessing that'd be under logic.
It would be under logic, but he certainly gets bonuses.
Yes. My logic, I think my logic was pretty good from last time we. I mean, I can.
You don't have the
I'd
character.
let me grab him. Let me grab the old version of him real fast.
Well, you guys were making a completely new character, right?
Yeah, we were building it for him, but
we were building it for him, but it can like I can take some of the stuff and put it onto this guy to make him more viable if you wanted to. Let's see here. Where is it? Ah, here it is. Logic. Okay, let me see. What are my bonuses?
I don't know. What is your logic?
Typical.
oh,
That's very low. Okay. And what kind of skills do you have?
I have skills. I have the telekinetics and I have gun use at the moment.
No. Skills. So gun use. Oh, I see. You're bumping your telekinesis. That's it. All right. But just being alien in and of itself is going to give you at least +1. So let's go bring you up to good, and that is a green. So you do succeed. And so you don't. It's not a yellow, or so you're not going to have like this unbelievable insight into the technology. But basically, what this tech is doing here is two things. One, it is a very sophisticated system for monitoring all radio. Smartphone, cell phone waves, any kind of transmission. This is very sophisticated, and you doubt that you would need some very serious government encryption for this guy not to be able to hear everything that everyone is saying, right? For one.
Hmm.
Two, this is if you were going to build a dark web computer, if even if that's a real thing, but if you were going to build one, this is the wet dream of all those hackers.
Hmm. I will relay that information.
Okay, so and once again, you get all that fingerprint information coming in. Of course, modern technology is very quick. Like I said, Rick or Richard upstairs, or excuse me, in your holding cell. In the upstairs apartment, his fingerprints are everywhere, obviously. This new set of prints are not anywhere upstairs.
Are there any matches in the system for it, or no? For the ones that we found downstairs?
Nothing.
Okay, upstairs. Is there a computer or
No.
tablet?
No. There is not. There is an old Nokia flip phone.
And
Okay.
why would he
So-
leave his phone here?
Well, it's an old
Okay.
one and it's not in use.
Yeah.
So, okay, we've got the computer. We've got more stuff to go on. The evidence gets all taken in. We should probably go speak with them again. With Miss Rick
Rick.
White. Yeah, we should go speak with them again.
Sure.
Get the
And,
phone numbers off the Okio phone too.
It's from over a decade ago, and Kitty does that, and it's Rick's phone, but he hasn't
Okay.
had a phone in 12 years.
Yeah. Okay. So, we'll go back and I guess we'll speak with Rick then.
Okay.
Ah,
You guys head back to the chapter headquarters. He's still in holding, as docile as ever.
okay. Rick, say I believe you, your brother. You are
You're cutting in and out for some reason.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
I can hear
Hello.
you now. There you go.
Okay, cool. So Rick, who was living downstairs in your storage area?
That's my brother's space. I'm not allowed to go in there.
Ah, I see.
Excuse me. That's my brother's space. I'm not allowed to go in there.
So you said that your brother tried to become a hero, right? He tried to join up with Omnicore,
He did.
and what prevented him from getting in again?
I don't know.
You see, the odd thing was that from our records, he wasn't able to pass the written exam. He had a hard time with that.
I don't believe that. I certainly don't believe that at all. Dick is very intelligent.
Well, that's the weird thing, because he clearly there's
Kitty comes
magical.
in over. He did pass the written. He didn't pass the psych.
Oh, okay. I thought you said he didn't pass the written
He
stuff
didn't
earlier.
get past the written phase.
Oh, okay,
That's what I
I
said.
got you. All right, my bad. Well, I misheard what you said. My bad. Okay. Look, I'm gonna basically try and persuade him. Like, look, there's clearly something big going on here, a lot bigger than we thought. That's your brother might be mixed up in something that he
Oh,
might not be.
I have a brother now.
Well, I mean, I didn't think so because literally there was no record of him in the system. But I've got birth certificates
I
of
told you
a
he's
parent.
very smart.
Well, I mean, we weren't really expecting this from a guy who goes around dressed up as a raccoon. You know, it's
Yes, I never cared for the costume. I think he should have went more as the Red Typhoon. Much cooler character.
sure, you know. Uh, but anyways, look, I mean, come on, just help us find your brother. He could be in trouble.
Well,
At this
I
point,
will be honest with you. I'm not going to be able to help you find my brother because I wouldn't be able to even know where to start. However, I might have some information, but I'm going to need a little bit of bribery.
what is it that you want?
I want to meet Flair.
Hold
Uh,
on. And I go walking off, and I'm okay. That's fine.
this is a thirsty nerd we're dealing
He
with.
is
Oh yes,
very
very,
thirsty.
very thirsty.
Yeah, you don't even know the half of it. Um. Okay, so I basically get I go to Yo-Yo Mama. I mean, I'm sure she's surprised with all the stuff that's been going on, and basically, he's agreeing to give us some information, but he wants to speak with Flair, and yeah.
So she kind of looks sideways. It's always Flair. And she picks up her phone and she makes a call and she looks over and she said, "Yeah, she'll be here in 30 minutes."
And I go back and I let him know like
And Flair shows up. Now, you guys have met Flair once, because like I said, you haven't had much interaction with the Paw Patrol, but she does come walking in, and she has this big smile on her face, and she comes talking to you guys, and she says, "It sounds like you have someone who is interested in me, and will give information if they get to meet me."
that seems like the case. He doesn't want to talk to anyone in this about this particular thing that isn't you. So
Which holding cell is he in?
I point her in the right direction.
Well, she
So.
asked for a number.
Oh yeah, no, I tell her the number of the cell.
Okay. She turns a quick turn step, and a portal opens, a doorway, and the cell is beyond the gate, not in front of the gate, after the gate. And she just walks right into the cell, and her portal closes behind her.
Okay.
Recording this conversation.
She is a teleporter. Keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you guys run to the cell?
No, I'm watching
Sure.
on screen.
Well, I mean, I'll go to the cell, but I mean, I figure she knows what she's doing. I'm assuming we can't follow through the portal. That probably wouldn't.
Well, they didn't have enough time. But
Yeah.
whether you're looking on a screen or you go down, it's just down the hall anyway.
Yeah.
You guys go in. By the time you get there, the nerd has found his resting his head with a gigantic smile on his face in her luscious boobage,
Oh wow. Okay.
and she's patting him on the head, and she's probably very happy that he has been washed down. But the smile on this guy's face, nirvana, right? And she's just patting him on the head. She seems to be unfazed by it completely. It's probably not the first time. But by the time you guys get there, she has been made abreast of the situation.
Ah.
But she
No
just
extra points for the GM.
extra points for the GM for sure. And she just starts asking him, "So where is your brother?" He's like, "I don't really know, but Madam Flair, I couldn't tell you where he is, but I can tell you many things about him. I think he's insane. He's always been rough with me. I mean, since we were kids, he's a bit of a bully. He was a wrestling champion, did you know? but recently he's become much more violent. And he really has a delusion that he is a superhero, and he thinks that you, the Omnicore, have held him back. He holds a direct grudge against you. I would do everything I could to protect you, but honestly, I just don't, I'm just not much on the violence. And his head goes back into the bosom.
Okay,
I need shots after this.
right. Well, me outside of the thing, I go, well, look, you gotta give us something that we can, sink our teeth into here. Like, what can you tell us about him that might be useful in our ability to find this guy? Find your brother.
Hmm. He just moves his eyes toward you. His head shall not come out those bosoms again. Um, but he says, well, we do have well, the family did have a cabin up in Bear Claw.
Wonderful. Can you give us the details on to find this cabin?
He does, from his memory. He can't. He hasn't been there since he was a kid, but he gives you details of what it looks like, and it's in Bear Claw. Kitty might be able to go through records and stuff. And then she pats him on the shoulders, like, "Thank you. That was a very good job." And she kisses him on the forehead. He faints into a
See, this
pile.
whole ordeal, he's probably like he's got plenty out of this whole ordeal.
Oh, he has.
That's
He's
yeah.
gaining out of it, and you could tell that he's become afraid of his brother recently. And she just smiles and she kind of looks over at you guys and winks, and she walks toward the bars and just disappears.
Okay. We get whatever information Kitty has on the records of this place, and
Kitty finds that that cabin he's talking about, the family has not owned. It was sold because keep in mind that a decade ago the parents died in a car accident, right? And as part of the estate sales, the apartment was kept, and it seems that an aunt oversaw the raising of the boys, but they weren't that young anyway. They were high school kids. So they moved back into that, but other properties were sold off. That cabin, as far as she can tell, is still in lieu.
hmm. Well, I mean, it's something to go on. We could also. What is the current status of the aunt?
Dead.
Okay. Well, this is pretty much the only lead we have, so we might as well go check it out.
You might as well.
What- Yeah.
Do we wait till tomorrow or do we do it today? How much time we got left?
You'd have to wait till tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's fine. So tell me, what are you guys going to do with Rick? I mean, he's clearly not your man. You guys are holding him. And keep
True.
in mind, he's never asked for a lawyer.
That is true. Well, I mean, I'll speak with Rick and I'll go. Look, if you are worried about your brother, you think he's dangerous.
He is.
Do you want to stay in our protection for now while we, until we apprehend him?
Can I see Flair again?
It's in the cards.
I'll stay here.
All right.
Can I go to the cafeteria?
I
The Sunny
See
Day
why-
Bar, by the way, was created in 1825. It
Okay,
was
you can go to the cafeteria,
Perhaps
but stay in the building, okay?
I'm going to go up to this human. What do you know of mutations?
He looks at you a bit sideways. He says, nothing.
This one may be useful for my experiments with the cockroaches.
Maybe
Get him
That would
sideways.
be illegal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely illegal.
Why would it be illegal?
Because it's definitely illegal. We do not do experimentations on autistic humans.
I said cockroaches.
Yeah.
I said you can help
This
me.
guy is clearly has some level of eidetic memory, obviously. But you've
Mhm.
been interacting with him for a couple days now. He is I would say, functional autist, but
Yeah.
honestly, he needs some attention. He really shouldn't be left alone, and you can tell by the state of the apartment. He's just enough that the state doesn't give a shit. It's that level, right?
I mean,
Um,
he still should have the psychological evaluation anyways,
Most certainly. Well,
considering.
you can tell already.
Yeah.
He's a barely functioning autist.
So.
He does have a certain amount of eidetic memory. That's clear, but a lot of
Mhm.
autists do. But he doesn't have many skills. Keep in mind, what was his job he was doing that he was fired from a week ago, and you don't even know why he was fired yet?
Yeah, we don't. I'm sure that's something we could ask him.
His job was a base laborer,
Mhm.
literally just muscle. He is a big dude. Now he's
Well,
not
I mean,
Downs. He doesn't have Down syndrome. It's not that. He's an autist,
Mhm.
but he's very, very severe one. So I don't know about mental examination. He's probably already been through those things many times in his life. But this guy is he's not all there, right?
Well, the point is that he doesn't seem to be capable of, or well, he is in that middle ground kind of thing where it's like he may or may not be capable enough to care for himself, kind of thing. So it's better if at least he gets evaluated. There's not more we can do in this case.
That's fine. And you do have Providence coming down in 8 days.
Yeah. So
Uh,
he stays here till then. That's fine.
that's already gone through the system, so you know how the
Hmm.
system is, whether he likes it or not.
Yep.
Now there is one question you guys did fail to ask, and I'm a bit surprised.
What did we forget to ask?
His brother's name.
Said
Oh
Dick.
yeah, because that's right. Because we went originally went under the assumption that Well, what was on the birth certificate?
Oh, that's right, you did have it. Richard Philip White and Richard Everett White.
Oh, so they gave him the same first name. That's weird. Okay,
It happens though. I've met kids like that.
that is weird. Okay.
Looking for Philip, not
No,
Evan.
this.
No, you're
No, I
looking
think
for
the one
Everett,
we have
not
is
Philip.
yeah.
Everett. All right.
And more than likely, they probably the reason why it's Rick and Dick is because of that.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. All right. So, yeah. Next day we will go to the cabin.
All right. So we will pick that up next week with the intervention of Ranger Dick potentially, and we'll see where that goes. Now, keep in mind, everybody, these guys also have the Bundy situation, which is it is in lieu, but it's still ongoing, right? The Bundy family clearly is a problem. You did take Butch Bundy has been taken into custody, but I doubt he's the end of the story. So we'll see how those things progress. But Ranger Dick is a little more interesting than it initially appeared.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
What a shock.
Yeah. Well, it's almost as if he was someone put him on the threat report, knew a little bit more than they were telling.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Who could that
Who makes
possibly
those threat
be?
reports? I wonder who did that.
Yeah, it's a mystery.
It's not much of
Yo,
a mystery. She's a very large black woman.
yo, mama.
Yeah, she's not much mystery here. It's kind of hard to miss her.
She was not good at hide and seek.
No, she was not. But it's weird how the AI created this form because that is way too fat for me. However, there is a bit of sexiness there, though. Kinda, maybe.
That's what you're into.
If that's what you're into, I've seen worse, dude.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've seen worse too, but you know.
Yeah. But anyway, Yo-Yo Mama, like I said, she's a bit, keeps herself a bit distant. But then again, most of these kind of CEO or chiefs tend to do that anyway, right? But clearly, she knew he's on this list for a good reason. She just didn't. It just wasn't seen that way by everybody else. So she
Oh,
hit some
Alien
issues.
Man. Alien
Mhm.
Man. Drop your pop by 10.
Oh yeah, you got to drop your pop by 10. Yeah,
What happened?
the Paw Patrol came in and helped you. And the media's on and on about it. We want to keep our Paw Patrol. We don't want these idiot newcomers. The mayor even said this morning on the news, he was in an interview, that he is going to petition Omnicorps to keep the Paw Patrol in Pawtucket because they are so beloved. Now, you guys work in the headquarters, the chapter house here, and you know right well that you haven't had a lot of conversations with them, obviously, but you from the chatter, those four want the fuck out of this place as quickly as possible.
So my pop has dropped to -8.
Yeah.
Well, you shouldn't have that low of pop, though.
I had feeble pop. I'm at -8.
Well, he's an
5
alien.
now,
He's an
so.
alien. Yeah.
Yeah, you're an alien,
But
yeah.
that's
Oh,
okay
yeah.
because you're making a new character, and that character's going to come in fresh. So
Yep.
that new character won't be affected by this event. So and hopefully the next character isn't
Oh.
interested in taking humans and mixing them with cockroach DNA. Well,
Well,
hopefully,
maybe my new character is one of the cockroaches mixed with human
maybe that would be
DNA.
even better, and
Nice.
therefore revenge, and your alien can be one of the villains that they go on the hunt for. That's perfect. I love it.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
love it. Yeah. But anyway, awesome. We'll see you guys next time. Yeah, we're having fun with this thing, and we got to get back in the swing because we had like a week off, and we had the Mystic Days indie thing last week, which was cool. We do love doing that. Maybe one day when Puffin actually goes and tries to publish one of his games, we'll do his. That would be great too.
Hooray.
And just keep in mind, Puffin, if you ever get to the point where you are going to publish, we will run a door and quarter for you. We will do all those kind of things for you, right?
Oh, well, thank you.
We're happy to do that. But nevertheless, we're going to get back into it. How is he not fat? What are you talking about, Ethriel? Are you fat shaming? Okay.
He is an ethereal dragon. He likes hordes.
Yeah, I imagine. But nevertheless, we'll check you out next week. 2 days. We are doing One Piece on Drone Recorder Ultimate Edition. And anything to say to the peeps, Puffin?
Keep it real.
Keep it real. GOP?
Goodbye, all my peeps in the box of peeps.
And Lady, who is muted.
First start with
Wow,
I'll
Puffin,
try
you
to
knew
be smarter
exactly what
next
you were gonna
time.
say.
No comment. Later, everybody.
Goodbye now.